Travel, as you probably already know, is something that I do a lot. I've traveled to over 60 countries around the world, been to almost all the continents, just missing one. And it's something I think about a lot. It's something that I look into a lot. One of the places where I got my information throughout the years, and one of the places, the websites that inspired me and helped me connect with like-minded people who are into travel, has been dansdeals.com. And Dan's Deals is run by a guy named Dan, who is a really friendly guy, and he was kind enough to come on the podcast. So earlier this week, I was in Cleveland. I sat down with him, and we made it happen. Please enjoy this episode with Dan from dansdeals.com. Usually when I start a podcast, I ask the guest to put their phone into airplane mode.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're able to do?
I already did.
But you can be like offline?
Yeah, I work with my wife and my brother. So they can take care of definitely the aspects that go on, take care of the emergencies, and they can route through the airplane mode, right? So if they call me when it's on airplane mode, it'll still ring my phone. The messages won't go through.
Got it. This started as a hobby, right?
Yeah. So I started this in 2004. I was on Bacher Shlichus, which is in the Chabad education system. You go through high school and then Beis Medrash post high school, and then you go off to a yeshiva anywhere in the world, and you spend a year mentoring the students there. And so while I was there, I started this blog. So it's been 22 years.
Wow. And you were how old at the time?
I did it on actually my 20th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. So November 2004, my 20th birthday. I started this from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Started blogging, and I've been doing it pretty much every day since then.
I would venture to say that like the Orthodox Jewish world was a little bit, at least then, was a little bit behind in technology. So blogging might have been popular in the general world, but in the Orthodox Jewish world, it probably wasn't.
Yeah, it was still new. I think even in the general world around then, it just was really in its infancy. But to have an Orthodox Jewish blog, it didn't really exist at that point.
Did you have anyone like parents or friends doubting what you were doing?
Well, I didn't do it to make an income. I didn't do it to start as a business. I started just doing it because it was fun. It was just a passion project to help people out. So no, nobody at the time thought it was crazy. They all enjoyed it. I think my father wondered if I was wasting my time, maybe. Mm-hmm. But besides for that, no, it was just a passion project for the first couple of years.
And in the first couple of years, what was it? Like, what were you posting about?
Yeah. Really anything I would strategize about. So if it was finding pretty much what it is today, it's kind of, you never know what you're going to find. It might be a great deal on a laptop. It might be a great deal on clothes, or it might be a strategy how to fly around the world on American Airlines for free, which I was doing. They had this promotion. If you flew twice from New York to either Florida or California, you got a free system-wide ticket at the time because they were fighting with JetBlue. They made this crazy promotion. So I was writing how to strategize that and how to get a cheap ticket from New York to Florida, and then use that. I flew from Sao Paulo to Tokyo via New York on one of these system-wide free tickets. So I would pretty much what it is today, which is just to strategize your travel and maximize your credit card spending is what I turned into, because that's a great way to earn miles and travel the world, or just to find a great deal on anything else.
Let's take a quick break to thank the first sponsor of the episode, Luxury Kosher Villas. If you're traveling or thinking of traveling to Florida and you want a place where you can hang out with your family, chill, know that you have a lot of space and a lot of privacy, in a Jewish area where you're in walking distance to synagogues and to kosher restaurants and to anything else you might need, call Shaya Weinberger from Luxury Kosher Villas. Shaya has approximately 30 homes in North Miami Beach and Boynton Beach, in Boca Raton, in Hollywood, and these are homes with kosher kitchens. All of them have private pools. They're great places to go for a vacation, and they're not as expensive as you might think. A lot of people go away for the summer. They go to the Catskill Mountains, or they go to another place where they will rent or lease a bungalow or a summer home. Shai Weinberger has homes available all year round, and I've stayed at his homes many different times, on many occasions, in many different homes. It really was a great experience. His service is second to none. He's friendly. He's always on call. He has either himself, or his managers are always in the area. And no matter what you need on your vacation, they're going to make sure that you are happy and satisfied with the vacation that you take. So call Shaya Weinberger today. The phone number is 305-449-9899. That's 305-449-9899. You can also go to his website, luxurykoshervillas.com. I'm going to put a link in the description to the video so you can send him a message or visit his website. and enjoy your Florida vacation. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Do you have a really old car and you know it's time to get a new one? The process can be very overwhelming at times. I remember the first time I wanted to get a car, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know who to call or what to do. But my friend Effie Klein told me to call Mendy Weiss. And since then, Mendy has been my go-to guy for car leasing. His company is called JOYRIDE, and he's taken care of everything for me. I've already leased 2 cars with Mendy because the service was great, and he gets back to you quickly. He gets things done. He gets you a great price. But the best thing is the service that he gives you. I remember when I finally decided on the car after some deliberation, it was in my driveway within a few hours. It happened very, very quickly, and I thank Mendy Weiss for getting that done. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, you want to buy something or lease something, maybe you need something for your business, call Mendy Weiss today. He's going to take care of you. The phone number is 347-554-1266. That's 347-554-1266. I'm going to put a link in the description of the video so you can reach out to him and get yourself the vehicle that you need. Thank you, Mendy, for sponsoring the episode. If you want to sponsor an episode, you want to advertise on this podcast, call 718-395-3465. You can also text us or WhatsApp us. That's 718-395-3465. So you talk about credit cards. A lot of people are very afraid of credit cards.
Yeah, they should be.
They should be?
Yeah.
Because like if I go to your website, dansdeals.com, right? It's set right away you're hit with like all these credit card offers.
Yeah.
And credit cards can be great. However, if you listen to like Dave Ramsey or anyone else, they'll tell you like the reason the credit card companies are giving you all these miles is because like, don't worry, they're not losing money. They have a system that makes it work.
Correct.
And people go into debt.
Yeah.
How do you like, I know you're an honest person. I know you try to make sure that no one gets into trouble using your strategies.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile the fact that people will see an offer and they'll be like, wow, I get all these miles, and then they start spending without thinking about how they're going to pay it off, and then they end up in debt?
Yeah, it's a huge concern. It's something I write about often. And I was doing seminars. I did maybe like 20 seminars where we had 1,000 people coming to them between like 2012 and 2018. And that's always what I would start with, is that this is a tool which can be very positive or it can be very negative. And if you're not going to be able to stay organized and keep out of debt, then it's going to be obviously a negative experience, which is not what we want. And I write about that now very often also, is that it's a powerful tool. And like anything else in the world, there's good and bad to it. And if you're going to be able to stay on top of it, and if you can stay organized and make sure you're not spending things that you can't afford, by spending on things that you can't afford, then it can be a very positive thing. But yes, it's definitely something where you can fall into a trap of debt. And so you have to, it's really about staying organized and making sure you're not spending beyond your budget. Listen, Dave Ramsey is correct for his niche of the market. So he's incorrect in that nobody should be using it, and that he says nobody can beat the system. It's not, I don't want to.
Do you think people can beat the system?
It's not about beating the system. The banks know that in an aggregate, they want to be profitable, right? And the airlines in an aggregate want to be profitable. So it's not that an individual can't, I don't want to say beat the system, but can't make it profitable on their own, or make it, a hobby that's worth pursuing on their own. You can, it's not that you could beat the system, but if you know the rules, you can definitely come out ahead. So Dave complains like, hey, nobody ever became rich off of credit cards. And that's true, but not everything that we do in our lives is something that is going to make you a millionaire. It could just be something that's enjoyable or something that you wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. So like this hobby, and over the years I've racked up like tens of millions of miles doing these strategies, by using these strategies, has allowed me to bring my family around the world and fly in luxury like I couldn't have imagined growing up.
Yeah.
So it adds enjoyment, and if you can add that enjoyment to your life, or there are many people that tell me, this has allowed me to stay in Kola longer, or stay in Shluchas longer. I don't know how do you translate Shluchas? they're able to really just maximize what's going on in their life and add a side income perhaps, or even a primary income source by using those strategies. So like I met somebody in Tampa Bay yesterday who told me that they're able to support their own Chabad house by using credit card spending as a tool to supplement their own income streams. So it's something that, perhaps Dave is right in that you're not going to become rich off of doing it, but it can definitely add enjoyment to your life. So if you can do that responsibly, great. If you can't do it responsibly, and I think people know whether they can stay organized and keep on top of it, or whether it's going to be something that turns into something negative. So
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be really disciplined.
Do you have to be really disciplined? You definitely have to be disciplined. I think it's attainable for most
So
people.
it's definitely attainable, but the reason I think the reason it works is because there are so many people who get messed over by the system,
No.
and they pay for the benefits that the people who are responsible
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, for sure. People that are paying interest are subsidizing the entire system, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's important to not fall into that trap. But on the other hand, there are many credit cards that give interest-free balance
Oh, yeah,
transfers
for
on
sure.
purchases. So that's helpful for people. Staying on top of that is key, and not spending. So I know people that will, even who can afford to pay it back, if they have a 0% card on purchases or balance transfers and they have that offer for 12 months or 18 months, they'll just stick that money into a savings account that might be paying 5% today, and they'll have that,
Right.
just free income.
Yeah,
So
that part is incredible. Like I was in Afghanistan and I was talking to my guide who's like driving me around and arranging everything for me, and he's like, "You just have this card and you can just borrow money."
Right.
Like it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely something that's unique to the Western world, and
Yeah.
and pretty much anybody who's born qualifies to just for someone to lend you money. Which again, you have to be responsible and disciplined. But if you can make it work,
The
it's kinda
prosperity in the West and in America in particular enables this to work because it's based on trust, and it's based on just the sheer affluence. So the banks can afford to loan out money, and we can use that to our advantage. Obviously the banks are going to make money in an aggregate. So yes, you don't want to fall into debt. You want to stay organized. You don't want to pay more annual fees than you're getting benefit from. But if you can maximize what the perks are, and they're counting that you're not going to maximize their perks, right? So if they have a card even that has a $900 annual fee, like you might think that's crazy, but if you can get thousands of dollars of value from that, that's wonderful. Now they're counting you're not going to get that value from it. So it's important to stay on top of it and make sure you have some kind of spreadsheet or you have some kind of system where you're going to be able to maximize that value and make it worthwhile.
How many credit cards would you say you signed up for over the years?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yeah, for sure. At any given time, I'll probably have maybe close to 100 open credit cards.
Wow.
So over the years, I've opened hundreds of credit cards. And, there's a myth that it hurts your credit, but my credit score is almost perfect. So that's not opening, closing the cards. As long as you do it responsibly, which I write about those strategies on Dan's Deals, it's not an issue.
Do you have like a pile somewhere of all these expired cards, or you shred them?
No, I keep them.
You keep them?
I figure I should wallpaper my office with them one day.
Yeah, you might be able to cover the whole room.
I probably could.
So when it comes to credit card spending, I know like back in the day, there's this insane thing you write about on the blog where you basically like buy money from the mint.
Yeah.
That's totally responsible because there's no way to get messed over with interest. Explain how that worked.
Yeah, so from around maybe 2008 until 2011, the U.S. Mint decided that they wanted to get dollar coins out into the world. And so, well, how are we going to do that? The banks carry them, but they're not really giving them to people. So they said, we're just going to sell them directly to consumers at face value. So they would sell you dollar coins for $1. They'd be free shipping and you could put it on your credit card. So obviously all of the mileage bloggers were like, wow, this is free frequent flyer miles. Because we don't think like the average person thinks is like, okay, why should I buy $1 for $1? Our whole ambition is to be able to buy $1 for $1. If you can monetize this, so if you can buy coins, so I was buying literally millions of dollars of coins and they'd be delivered to my house. The UPS driver was wondering what is going on here.
They've got to be heavy boxes.
Yeah, they're heavy boxes. And at the time I was driving some like old beat up minivan, and the value of coins I was putting in that were several times the value of that rusted out Chevy Venture. And so I was bringing it, literally I get $50,000 delivered to my front door and I'd bring it into a bank. And the teller would be like, what's going on here? And I was perfectly honest. I explained the U.S. Mint sells these coins. I buy them my credit card. I earn the miles for them. I might even get, 12 months of free interest so I can make money on that for a year. And then I deposit it straight into my bank account and pay off the credit card bill.
And you're getting like a 1 point per dollar?
And so whatever credit card you're using, you might get a 2% back card or 2 miles per dollar that you're earning. So I earned like millions of Starwood points at the time. buying these dollar coins and then just depositing them. And the teller would be like, wow, I got to get onto this. How do I learn more about it? And I remember one time the manager was nearby and he was like, you can't do that. That's to make sure if you do that, you're depositing them somewhere else.
Oh, he didn't want them at his bank.
to a customer. All right, that's the cost of doing business. But yeah, he'd rather not have to deal with it. But in the end of the day, it's just depositing, money. And from that point, it was just... And this worked until somebody told the Wall Street Journal about it, and then the Wall Street Journal asked the Mint about it, and the Mint is like, well, yes, we're meeting our objectives and getting this out there, but people are just depositing them, which was really, they were hoping people were actually going to use them. But it's not convenient to use a coin. It's easier to swipe your credit card or even pay with cash, with dollar bills. So it never really, met the mark of what they were trying to do.
What did the IRS think of all this?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the IRS is concerned, it's just, it's not income. So the banks do flag major cash deposits. And I think some people may have had issues if they were sketchy with why they were doing it, if they weren't just being honest, because then they might think this is drug money. But like if you're just being honest with the bank of what's going on, then they don't care about it. And so it's not something that really raised any red flags.
Do miles and perks from credit cards qualify for something that you have to tell the IRS about?
Generally, no. For the most part, credit card earnings are considered a rebate of the purchase. So if you buy something and you get a rebate on it, it's not income, right? It's just if you buy something for $1, then the basis of that purchase is lowered maybe to 98 cents if you get a 2% rebate. But it's just a rebate. So a rebate isn't income.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're doing a cashback card or a mileage card. The IRS considers that all just to be a purchase rebate. As opposed to if you open up a checking account, you might get a 1099 to report to the IRS that you got income, because that's just if you got a $1,000 bonus for opening up a new checking account, that is income, and the bank will send you a 1099. You'll report that to the IRS as income, and they'll report it as well. So you need to pay the interest on that. But for opening a credit card, if you notice that when you open a credit card, they might say you get 100,000 miles for spending $5,000. So those 100,000 miles are then a rebate on that $5,000 of spending. So opening that credit card, that bonus, and then the bonus for the spending you're doing every day is just considered a purchase rebate. So the IRS doesn't consider that income at all.
Okay. Why'd you stop doing the seminars?
Great question. I'm a natural introvert, so for me to go out there and talk to that many people, it was very draining.
But you did it 20 times.
I got used to it. Yes, you could train yourself even as an introvert to get used to going out there and spending hours talking to people. And I learned to enjoy them. I think the main reason why I stopped is I talked about strategies that I didn't usually talk about online because I was afraid if I wrote about them online, then they might no longer work because it goes around quickly. And the main thing that kills a good deal is too much exposure. So I would talk about those things in a seminar. And then in the end, what happened was that several other bloggers started coming to my seminars to learn about them, and they would write about them on their blog as if they just discovered it. And this happened a couple of times. And those, I don't know if I say loopholes, but those strategies were closed and no longer worked. I'm like, well, I mean, the whole point of this was to kind of get this out there and just to ask people, keep it on the down low. And that worked for a while, but as they grew in popularity, it stopped working. So I knew it was time at that point to wrap it up.
We're going to take another quick break to thank the third sponsor of the episode, Hire on Us. My friend Barry Perlstein has been helping me over the past few months to make sure that my business is running efficiently. He got me virtual employees that are doing work that I was doing on my own. Unfortunately, for years, I made the mistake of thinking that I had to do everything on my own and be on top of everything and control everything in my business. But sadly, you can't grow if you're doing everything on your own because there simply isn't enough time in the day. Therefore, for a couple dollars an hour, you can bring on an employee who can help you take your business to the next level. These people are virtual employees who speak a perfect English. They understand what the business looks like. Barry will help you build processes and systems that will make sure that these employees provide the maximum bang for your buck. So if you're looking to take your business to the next level and you want to get ahead in life, it's time to let go of some control, bring in the right people who can really help you grow. Call Barry Perlstein at Hire on Us. His phone number is 917-553-9953. That's 917-553-9953, or you can visit his website, hireonus.com. Thank you, Barry, for sponsoring the episode. We also want to thank Weber Tours in Austria. Weber Tours is a company that does hotels throughout the year. They have a program in the summer. They do one over Pesach, over Passover. And I've stayed there twice. I was there last summer for a week. I was there for Pesach, for Passover this year. And we had a great time. They're located in St. Anton am Arlberg, which is in the Austrian Alps. It's a beautiful location, amazing views. They have great kosher food, great programming, entertainment, Torah classes, prayers, everything that a Jew needs on vacation. They have it there. And you're going to have a great time. So if you're thinking of getting away to Europe, you want to go to Austria, to the Alps, call Weber Tours today. You can send them a message on WhatsApp. Their phone number is 929-377-2299. That's 929-377-2299. There will be a link in the description. Check out Weber Tours, and I hope you enjoy your vacation. Do you have any relationships with the other travel bloggers in the non-Jewish world?
Yeah. We've met definitely. There's definitely times where banks have get-togethers. I'm actually flying to New York after this and to a bank-hosted get-together where we will meet each other and we'll talk to the banks about what people are saying on the street, what people are looking for in their cards, and how we could best. Really, it's a win-win-win situation at the end of the day, because the banks are looking for new customers and the airlines are looking for new customers. They want to sell their frequent flyer miles to the banks. And they need customers to want them. So what we do really is connect everybody's desires, which is people want miles, they want to travel, or they want to earn cash back, and the banks want new customers and the airlines want new customers. So if we can make it a win-win-win, that's perfect. So I've met with airlines and banks and really how to strategize, how to make it a real win-win-win, which is not much in this world where everybody can win, but it is possible with this for everybody to come out ahead, which is super cool, because I've met people who have read my blog and told me how it's changed their life or enabled them to do things they didn't think they could do, or they're able to fly their family to meet a grandparent before they passed away and travel at the last minute. There's tons of awesome things I hear from that end, but you also hear from the banks or the airlines that, hey, this is really neat that you're able to really reach people who we weren't able to reach, or explain products we have that we're not that great at explaining maybe. So I can write, a long form post on a credit card and how to best use it, that a bank, either for regulatory reasons, might not be able to explain, or they just don't have the capability to explain it to a layman, like why you want this credit card. So they use us to market it and to reach people, and just to explain why this is a good card. But at the same time, we can also write, this is not a good card. This is not something people should use. So it's not always going to be positive necessarily, and they understand that. But the coverage, sometimes they'll come out with a new product and it'll get widely panned, and they'll pivot and they'll change things. So when one bank launched a new card last year and it was panned, and they sent their head of marketing, the head of the product actually, to have a Zoom with me and talk about what are we missing, what's wrong, what can we do better. And so I said, at least for my market, I know that, if I should say the name of the banks or not, how specific should I be here?
Your move.
Yeah, it's not. That should be okay. So, for example, when the Chase Sapphire Reserve relaunched last year, it had a much higher annual fee. The annual fee climbed from $550 to $795 a year, and they took away a lot of benefits. And so, a lot of people online complained about it, and I wrote about those drawbacks. And they actually sent the head of the product to me to ask, "Hey, what can we do to make this better for your clientele? How could we?" And I gave them feedback, and they changed a lot. They added a lot of benefits. They actually added kosher food in their lounges, which they hadn't offered until now. And I explained, like, a big benefit is you offer a $300 restaurant credit and there's nothing that's kosher. So they said, okay, we're going to look into it. And they reached out to me again, like, can you hook us up with kosher restaurants? I'd be interested in partnering with us. So I did that. And there's one that just signed a contract now that's coming online very soon.
Can you say who?
Not yet, but it'll come online. It'll come online soon. Hopefully it'll be the first of many. So they want feedback, and they want to know, how can they make their product valuable to Dan's Deals readers? And so that the feedback loop is very good, because we hear from readers what's wrong, and we can pass that on, and the banks can work with really maximizing their product to make it appealing to our readers. So
going back to the seminars, I think the reason, I missed out. I never got to go to any of them, but I feel like when I go to the blog today, it can almost be overwhelming, because you have to start way back 20 years ago to understand the goal and the process and the mindset you have to have.
Yeah.
And there's so much to catch up on. In a seminar, it's like a crash course. Someone could walk in, know nothing.
Right.
By the time they leave,
right,
they're somewhat of an expert.
Right.
So that's a pity. I I wish I could have. Like I've gained so much from your website because I really have maximized. At some points, I kind of hoard my miles.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're most valuable in a desperate situation.
Yeah.
Like you can buy a ticket sometimes. I live in Texas. You buy a ticket from Houston to New York for, let's say, $150, $200, and the flight will cost you 15,000 miles on United. But when the ticket is going for 1,200, you could still usually get the same ticket in miles for 15,000 miles.
Right.
So I save it for like when tickets are not normal. That's when I do it. But I've really gained a lot from the site. However, if I could have attended a seminar, I probably would be so much better off.
Yeah, the seminars, it did do that. It took everybody from that beginner position, which, some people complain with like, oh, I already know all this stuff. And I always make sure to tell people it's going to start from a beginner level and try to work, and hopefully it'll have something that's interesting for everybody. But at the same token, at some points I would lose people because it got very advanced and people's like, wow, this is getting to be too much for me. So to balance that, it was always a process in working how to keep beginners interested and how to also keep experts interested, which is it's a struggle. We could have done, I guess, different levels, but we tried to just do something that lasted a few hours that was interesting for everybody. It is something that is always a work in process. So we do it's good feedback. It's something that I should work on, maybe just a long form post of how to get from point A to point D and really work on the background more.
What about like online seminars or a podcast?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I wouldn't rule it out. It just, there's so many things that we want to do and want to get into. So we're trying to build out like a credit card recommendation site. People can plug in what they're looking for and maybe get cards personalized or recommended for them. So there's definitely things there are many projects we try to do, and there's only so much time in the day.
Right.
Especially because we just have a very small team. It's like I said, it's my brother JJ and my wife Mimi and I that work on it full time. So yeah, there's a lot of definitely online seminars it's a possibility.
When did your brother and your wife join the team?
Yeah, JJ's been doing it now for, I want to say, around 14 years.
Oh wow.
He had just started actually Ivy League law school. He was at Penn. He just started. And I came to him with an offer he couldn't refuse, and he actually
quit.
He took a deferment there, and he's like, all right, let's try this out for a year, and we'll see which direction I want to go. And he heard from going into law school and hearing about the lifestyle that was going to entail. And I said, I think this might be a better lifestyle for you, and maybe try it out for a year. So he took a deferment for a year, and he's been working with me now for, I think, about 14 years. And then my wife has been working on, JJ was handling a lot of the advertising where people can, paste, can provide paid placements for an ad. And then he passed that on to my wife, for my wife to do maybe around 6 or 7 years ago. And so she's been dealing with that department while he works on, finding deals and new projects. And
then what do you do?
The same thing. I focus more on the travel aspect and the credit card finance and strategies, and he'll focus more on finding Amazon and Walmart deals that interest people. So it's there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a hodgepodge of things, kind of like when you walk into a Costco, you never know what you're going to find. You go into Dan's Deals, you never know if you're going to find a glitch on an airfare or a great credit card offer, or a great deal on a laptop or clothes or electronics, or you never know what you're going to find.
Speaking of glitches, you ever have, you've had some crazy things happen. I mean, I can't even, I remember I was engaged and there was this Etihad glitch where you can I don't remember what it was, but I just remember you could fly anywhere for pennies.
Yeah.
And I was on the phone with a bunch of friends. I was am I going to do this before my wedding or after my wedding? I missed out on it because they all get nuked pretty fast.
Yeah, deals never last too long. They used to last longer before social media. We started Dan's Deals before social media existed, before Facebook existed even. So in the beginning, for word to get out was much more difficult. WhatsApp didn't exist. None of this stuff existed. And so now when things go viral, they go viral very quickly. So a lot of the deals that there were in the beginning, let's say a $300 flight to Israel, or I remember when Delta had $50 flights in first class to Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. My wife got that one.
That was a very popular one. It was good for anywhere in the U.S. So people were going to Hawaii or Alaska or from New York to L.A. These flights were full of Dan Steele's readers
Yeah.
who were flying in first class for $50. But that lasted for several hours, and it wasn't really picked up by any other blogs until Delta shut it down. And I think today it would be over in a matter of seconds because things just go viral so much more quickly due to social media.
Have any of the airlines ever told you that they're watching your blog
They do.
for their own mistakes?
Yeah, they for sure do, especially now. They definitely are watching things, yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
You ever got into any legal trouble for putting out a deal?
Yeah, no, thank God never. Never.
Well, it's not illegal.
Yeah,
right?
no, nothing illegal about it. I mean, I suppose there are ways I could have crossed a line where
How so?
there are deals where you have to manipulate things more in order to. So I would encourage people. Something came across my desk last month about an airline that wasn't charging. If you took a number of steps to manipulate something where you can change to any flight you want without paying a difference in fare. So for me, that crosses the line. Like, yeah, I always take a step back and like, is this ethical? Is it legal? Like, where do you draw the line between a price mistake on an airfare, which I say price mistake or glitch. They're not always price mistakes. Like there are times where an airline might just need to fill seats on a flight because when a flight goes out with empty seats, that's just spoiled revenue. It's lost forever.
Sure.
So the cost for an airline, if you have 100 seats filled on a flight and you have 300 seats on the plane, if those 200 seats go out empty, that revenue is lost forever. So an airline could underprice that product, but then anybody who needs a last minute business class ticket will get a good deal when they don't even need a good deal. So how does an airline fill a plane profitably and not ruin the ability to get last minute travel? So that's really where frequent flyer miles come in. And that's why, like you said, you're able to get that last minute $1,200 flight movie from Houston to Newark on United, which might cost over $1,000, can get it for 12,000 miles because that flight's not full. They know they're not going to sell the seats in that flight. They'd like to sell the seats at a huge premium because at the last minute, people that are buying those tickets are willing to pay for it. So how do you fill that plane and not lose money on it? So the frequent flyer miles has really unlocked the ability for an airline to kind of have like a discount, but only for people that are in the know. So you could use your miles for it, but a business person is probably not going to use their miles to save their company money. So the company will still pay that fare at the last minute, which might be $1,500 Houston to Newark. Or Houston to LaGuardia, that could be an expensive ticket last minute, but you could still save a lot and they can still fill their planes through frequent flyer miles. So it's the same thing when there's a glitch. Airlines could just be dumping availability in order to fill that plane for a limited period of time. Or maybe they just want to go viral. Maybe they're just trying to create a buzz for a new airline. That's happened. So all these things have happened. Like an airline was partnered with United and had discounted availability. And it turned out that this glitch that I posted for a ticket on United to Europe or to Israel for $200 round trip, this airline actually, the CFO leaked it online because he wanted to, get the word out about booking on their website. So it's not always unintentional. Oftentimes it's intentional as a marketing strategy or a way to fill up seats that might not be used and might be spoiled otherwise. It was lost revenue. So it's hard for a consumer to tell necessarily if something is a glitch or if something is legitimate. So for me, that's fair game. If there's an airfare and you can go to a website and buy it, it's not a consumer's job or my job to determine, is this intentional? Is it not intentional? Is this, sales happen. Every store has a sale. Now, once it comes to like manipulating the system and performing steps in order to trick the system, that crosses what I would put, the red line of what I would post. So that's why I'm like, that's too far.
Are you ever able to discern whether a glitch is unintentional or intentional?
I mean, I can guess, but unless I'm going to ask the airline, hey, did you mean to release this fare? They're not going to, they would just stop it at that point. Like there's no point of asking the company, was this intentional or not? And in the end, like there could be a glitch on HP computers and sometimes they decide to honor it and maybe it was intentional and sometimes they don't honor it. And how do you know, do they just want to unload excess inventory or is this an actual glitch? And at the end of the day, sometimes, like I said, they'll cancel, sometimes they'll honor it and they'll decide, is it worth it or not worth it? So one of the greatest deals that I took advantage of was back when Living Social was a thing. They were competing with Groupon, and their way of marketing their Living Social deals was for every deal, if you referred 3 friends to buy it, then yours became free. So you could buy something, and then if you found 3 friends to also buy it, yours was free. And then they had this deal one time for Fairmont hotels. And for $2,000, you could buy a night at the penthouse suite at the Fairmont San Francisco. And then in the fine print, it said you'd also get lifetime Fairmont Platinum status. I'm like, that sounds interesting. I don't know anything about Fairmont Platinum status, but I was researching it. And it says how every single year you get a free night, and you get free suite certificates, and you get free spa and dining credit. I'm like, that could be crazy if this is honored for life. So I wrote about it, and I bought a package, and I'll post my referral link, and a few people buy it. And so I wound up buying 9 of these packages, and 27 readers bought it. And then overall, I think 115 people bought into this deal, and then they shut it down. And so was this a mistake? Was it not a mistake? It was very vague as to, I don't think that Fairmont authorized this hotel to make this deal with Living Social to give away lifetime platinum status. But in the end, their lawyers are like, well, we offered it and we're going to honor it. And so every year I get 9 nights at a Fairmont hotel in a suite. Which
They're
is
nice hotels.
Yeah, very nice hotels. I've stayed at the Fairmont everywhere from Dubai to Maui and the Plaza in New York and the Savoy in London, and really in every single continent almost. And in these suites that would cost like $5,000-$10,000 a night sometimes from this one deal that we posted. So everyone that took advantage of that deal, they still tell me, and we still have like a WhatsApp group, and we talk about where we're going to go that year. So people are pretty grateful. Now I still don't know if it was a mistake or not a mistake. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It's hard to ascertain for sure.
But you're just enjoying it.
I'm just here. I'm just along for the ride. I enjoy diving into things like that though, and strategizing. Like, is this going to make sense? And I'm like, listen, even if this is just honored for this year alone, you'll make your money back. But if this is honored for life, and here we are, this was back in 2011, so we're 15 years later, and I'm still enjoying all of these hotel nights in a suite. So it's pretty incredible.
Is there ever a deal that's too good to post?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely not everything gets posted. We have the Dan's Deals forums where people discuss about, deals that I don't talk about necessarily on dansdeals.com. And there's tens of thousands of people that are signed up for the forums, and they talk strategy and they talk deals, and not everything will have mainstream appeal. And the most things that I post are going to have mainstream appeal on dansdeals.com. So it's more of a niche. There are more niche deals talked about there, and definitely more strategizing deals. And yeah.
How do you keep a handle on all? Because there's got to be tens of thousands of threads by now.
Yeah. It's. I used to read every single post back in the day, but it became way too big. So I just kind of spot check things, and unlike the one I mentioned before, where you can try to manipulate things and not pay the difference in fare on an airline, like that was discussed there, and then people are like, no, that's not ethical, and people debate it, like, is this something we should do, shouldn't do? It's not something that I would write about on dansdeals.com, but on the Dan's Deals forum, people can discuss it, and should we do it? Is it something, how to do it? And so it kind of gets into the murkier areas there.
What do you call it? Is it churning or farming? What do you call the when you just basically create free miles?
No, I mean, when you're just opening credit cards, closing credit cards is just it's just part of strategizing how to make the most of the system that exists.
Right, but there's a term on the blog.
Yeah,
churning, I think it is. Like when you did the mint, you basically take like buying free points.
Manufacturing spending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there still any good ways to manufacture spend?
There are, but
a way that won't cost you any money, but it'll get you miles.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the Fight Club, where the number one rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. There definitely are strategies. There definitely are lots of groups and forums where people talk about it, and it's kind of passed along maybe in private messages. You have to get to know people and to be let in on the secrets, because anything that becomes popular in today's day and age will go viral, and then it won't last. So a lot of these things, they're not discussed publicly necessarily, but there are definitely times where you can, for example,
the Staples gift card.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll write about when Staples have gift cards without a fee, and you could use credit cards that might offer 5 points per dollar to buy that gift card, and then people figure out, how can we liquidate that gift card? Or even if you just want to use. Even if you just want to buy something, instead of buying something at a store, you might only get 1 mile per dollar. By doing it that way, you might get 5 miles per dollar. So you could kind of maximize there are definitely ways of maximizing your spending and earning more miles than you would be able to normally.
But I could be wrong. It feels like the only way to actually spend money but not spend money and get miles is the Staples gift card thing. That's the only way that you talk about on the blog.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely other ways.
So we're going to have to do like a post-podcast private discussion.
And we have advertisers that even with the mint today, will say that, hey, if you buy this mint coin, that might be a limited quantity that will buy it off of you again at a higher price than you paid for it. And
Right.
So really you might be able to buy a coin that costs $10,000 and they'll pay you a small profit, but that way you can earn the miles on that purchase as well. Or maybe, so.
But that's just a one-time thing. That's not perpetual. Free
It's not perpetual,
miles
but
forever.
no, it's fairly often that they run things like that, though.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. I mean, in general, you do have to spend money to make money though. Yeah.
Right.
But people pay their taxes on their credit card. So
rent, right?
there are ways of paying rent on a credit card. There's all different methods. So yeah, like the IRS, to pay your tax on a credit card might cost you 1.75%. But if you're meeting a spending bonus for a credit card, you might get 10% back. Or if you're even if you're using a credit card that earns 2.5% back or something, so you'll earn that difference. You'll earn that spread between the 1.75% fee and the cash back that you're earning on the card, so you can come out ahead that way. But yeah, generally you need to spend money to make money. But there's lots of people that they might buy good deals that we post and then put them on eBay afterwards. So something is at a big discount on Prime Day, and then a week later they know it's not going to be. People are still going to be buying that item, so they could buy things and then sell it later at a profit while still making the miles on the purchase.
Let's pause for a moment to thank the fifth sponsor of the episode, Luxury for Charity. There is a organization that does Jewish outreach. They help Jewish people learn more about their heritage. They're located in Israel, and they do a lot of good work. My brother actually is a part of this, and he studies in their seminary for rabbis. And if you want to support this organization, there's a great way to do it in a way that you can also win prizes. So every month, Luxury for Charity makes a raffle. So every month, they're picking a destination. This month is Barcelona in Spain. There's a lot of history there. There's some kosher food, and it's a very popular tourist destination. In the past, they've done raffles for trips to Puerto Rico, to Iceland, Greece, Panama, etc. So every month they're picking a destination. For just $15, you can get yourself a ticket, be in the raffle. You're supporting a good cause. The money goes to charity, and you also have the opportunity to win. Please go to the link, luxuryforcharity.org/Zions. That's LUXURY 4CHARITY.org/ZIONCE. There will be a link in the description, hopefully also on the screen, so that you guys can go buy some tickets, support this organization, and I hope you win. Thank you, Luxury for Charity. Last but not least, I want to thank my cousin Yitzi from Southside Smokehouse in Lakewood. I'm currently sitting in Lakewood. It's only a couple minutes from where I am, and as soon as I finish recording this ad, I'm going to go over to Southside to have lunch. I love going to Yitzi's place. He has the best smoked meats in Lakewood. He really, really has good food. Amazing sandwiches and appetizers. He has soups and salads. It's smoked stuff, chicken, turkey, beef, and we've always had a good time there. My wife loves it. My kids love it there. I've sent hundreds of other people to go eat there, and they've always had a blast. I'm constantly getting pictures on WhatsApp. People are sending me pictures of their food, and they know that Southside is a great place to eat. And that's why I promote it, and that's why they send me their pictures. So if you're looking for a good bite to eat, you want a bite that's going to blow your mind, go to Southside. It's located at 315 Cedarbridge Avenue in Lakewood, New Jersey. You can call them at 732-961-6126. That's 732-961-6126. Or you can go to their website and order iwantsouthside.com. Thank you, Yitzi. Thank you, Southside. I don't know if you remember this. There was, it was probably within the last 10 years, but probably closer to 10 years ago. There was somebody who bought a Chinese teacup at auction.
Yeah.
Was it Sotheby's?
I think so, yeah, in China.
And I think they paid $180 million. And there's no way to verify this because Amex wouldn't verify it, but it was rumored that the person paid on their credit card.
I think they had one of those the MX Centurion cards. Is what I think I saw. Yeah.
And the company was asked whether they would give the person points.
Yeah.
They said yes, and then they asked, did the transaction happen? So we can't comment on that.
Right.
But
now, generally, if you're paying for a credit card at an auction from an auction house, they're going to charge you a fee for that. So my guess is that it wouldn't be worthwhile because generally those fees exceed the value of the points. So he's probably just doing it show his black card, and just for the
For kicks.
publicity, maybe, because the publicity on that could be, I don't know if this person had a business or what he does in China, but the publicity from a story like that could be worth more than the fee, right? So,
Or maybe it was all a plant by the credit card company to say like, we'll remove
Right.
the transaction fee if you swipe the card.
it's certainly within the realm of possibility.
Wow, you know what I would do with 180 million points? I know somebody who has 500 million points.
Wow. Okay. Are they using credit card for their business or?
I don't want to get into too much detail, but
Okay.
they're involved in an industry that buys a tremendous amount of expensive materials
Okay.
every year, and it's somebody with thousands of employees. And I know for a fact that he's not maximizing.
Yeah.
Like he's not spending all his points. I'm like, I don't know. I need some points donors in my life. I try my best, but I don't know. There's so many cool things you can do if you have all these points.
Yeah, I've done awesome things with the with the points over the years for sure. I think my favorite was using the million points to throw out the first pitch before Game 7
Oh yeah.
of the 2016 World Series, which was considered one of the best World Series games of all time. The Indians versus the Cubs, and both teams hadn't won the World Series, in a lifetime or two.
And you're a Indians fan.
I'm
right?
I'm a lifelong Indians.
They're not allowed to
fan.
call that. What they changed the name, right?
The Guardians now.
The Guardians?
Exactly.
Okay.
But at the time they were the Indians. So I got to go out on the field and throw out
was your
the first-
grandfather there?
I had my grandfather there. It was actually my anniversary. So
Oh, wow.
my wife was out on the field and JJ came onto the field. All four of us went out onto the field. We all got tickets to the game, had second row seats to the game, which that game was like crazy. It was like, to get seats like that, to be able to buy that on the open market would have been like $30,000 a ticket. Like it was something crazy. That was a lot of fun. I gotta, be called up and I'm gonna throw out the first pitch. Like as a child, you kind of dream of that, but I'm like super non-athletic. So obviously that dream's never gonna happen. No one's ever gonna call me to throw out the pitch, throw out Game 7 of the World Series. But they called my name up. Here's a Starwood preferred guest who's gonna throw out the first pitch, and we're like, who's Dan Eleff?
It was good marketing. You put the name of the blog on your
Yeah, I had
jersey.
Dan's deals. I had them put on a jersey that day. I went to an embroidery store and they put Dan's deals on an Indians jersey. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It was a crazy game. The Indians came back from a big deficit, and then they tied it up, and then there's this rain delay, and then it kind of changed the momentum, and Chicago won.
Oh, Chicago won. I'm sorry.
The first it was the first time winning since 1908. So people had wanted for them to win for a long time, but the Indians also haven't won since 48. And my grandfather's with me, and he was at that 48 World Series and watched the Indians win then. And he's the one who kind of took me to games my whole childhood, and it would have been nice to see a win there, but it was still an awesome experience. So I got to do that with my miles. And at the time, an ESPN reporter wrote on Twitter that Dan Eleff just purchased this package for 1 million miles. He could have bought 30 nights at the St. Regis, New York, with those miles. And I'm like, yeah, but whose childhood dream is it to spend 30 days in the St. Regis? That's all right. I mean, it's something, I suppose, but that's not anybody's dream. And I think the cool part about miles is the aspirational usage of them. So if I could do something that money can't buy,
Yeah.
that's really cool. And actually Starwood, they got bought out by Marriott and they stopped doing that. And MLB decided when there was a Game 7 the next time, they were just going to auction it off for charity. And it actually sold for over $500,000.
Wow.
So everyone's like, oh, 1 million miles. Look what you can do with 1 million miles. But to get a value of $500,000 for 1 million miles, you're talking about 50 cents a mile. And when you're redeeming your miles, like you mentioned, a ticket that's $150 that costs 15,000 miles imputes a value of 1 cent a mile. And if you're using it for a flight that might cost $1,500, that's 10 cents a mile. But I figure that I got a value then of 50 cents a mile, which is as good as you're ever going to do. So I was pretty happy with that redemption. So I've definitely done some cool things with the miles over the air, flown in flights like Emirates First Class, where you have the shower on board and your own private suite. So definitely there are lots of cool things you could do with them.
And if you had to fly in economy,
Yeah.
does that ever happen?
Internationally, not since I really started doing the whole mileage business. Probably the last time I flew internationally in economy was from that American Airlines deal when I flew from Sao Paulo to Tokyo for free. I mean, 2 flights from New York to Florida. So otherwise, I use the miles for business class, and I'll scout out and I'll wait for that to become available, because even though it's hard to find availability at any given point in time, if you're flexible and you're willing to wait for it, you can find that availability. It'll open up at some point, and I'll watch the seat maps, and I can figure out which flights will become available for a super saver award, whatever you want to call it.
How many countries? Do you know how many countries you've been to?
Between 40 and 50. I don't necessarily try to rack up the number of countries. We do have guys on the forums that have been to over 150 countries who make it a game. And there's definitely there's forum threads. People like, how many countries have you been to? How many airports have you flown to? I think I've flown to like 140 something airports. It's just for bragging rights, but there's guys that have flown to 600 airports. So I'm not trying to compete with people on that leaderboard. But I have my own bucket list. I just yesterday went to my 30th baseball park.
Oh, you're trying to go to all of them, right?
I tried to go. I just finished that yesterday. Actually, I was in Tampa. So I saw games in all 30 ballparks, which I've been doing over the past several years.
You finished, you reached your goal?
Reached the goal.
Mazel
Side
tov.
quest, bucket list. Thank you. So that was fun. And a lot of those ballparks I use miles to go to because Capital One has a partnership with Major League Baseball where you can get these amazing seats for $40 of cashback rewards. So you could get these seats that would cost hundreds of dollars and redeem $40 of miles to get those seats.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How many ballparks have kosher food?
I think there's about maybe around 9 ballparks have kosher food.
So it's the Yankees.
The Yankees have 2 options. So they have the regular kosher food, and then if you sit in their luxury seats, their Delta suites, their Legend suites, you can get kosher. You can get catered kosher food. So you can literally eat prime rib, all you could eat.
Really?
Yeah, amazing food that they have. If you know which sections have it,
and you can use the Capital One for $40 to get in there.
So it depends on the stadium. So Toronto actually has the best deal because you could use the Capital One miles to sit in these seats that come with unlimited food. But they'll actually bring you all you could eat kosher food from the stand. This kosher stand there is actually probably the second best in baseball. They have great French fries and chicken tenders and pastrami sandwiches and foot-long hot dogs. I don't even know where they get them from. I've never seen a foot-long hot dog anywhere else besides at the Blue Jays games. Yes, and you could do all you could eat. They'll just keep bringing you more cookies, more chicken tenders, and they just keep bringing them to you. And all you could eat for $40 seats, like 8 rows behind home plate.
That's crazy.
The tickets would cost crazy amount to buy that seat. But you could use, $40, 4,000, 5,000 miles for those seats. So that's a fun one. I've done that a few times.
Who else has kosher? The Chicago
Cubs have Romanian. I don't know if you know about Romanian meats.
I love Romanian.
Okay, yeah. So they have great hot dogs and sausages, and they've got the fried onions. That's a great one.
Fried onions?
Yeah.
On the hot dog?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I haven't ever been to a sports game.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I did once go to a football game.
All right. Well, we'll have to go to a baseball game sometime.
Yeah, you have to come to the Houston Rodeo.
Yes. We talked about that. I came to Houston once. I don't think I've flown through Houston Intercontinental Airport so many times, but I think I've only left the airport once to go to an Astros Indians game a few years back. And you mentioned
in the summer,
that.
Right?
I think so. I mean, it was
Not
hot
a
and
good time to
humid.
come.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's when baseball's played though. But the good thing is that they have a dome. So it's pretty much all the stadiums in the South. So the Texas stadiums, the Florida stadiums are domed. So I was in Tampa yesterday, and if we didn't have the dome, it would just be impossible. It's 100 degrees and humid, but they have a dome, so it's air conditioned. But yeah, it's not the best time to visit a city, perhaps.
But the rodeo's during the winter, and it's such a good time.
I'll have to go. I did go to one rodeo in Jackson Hole when we went to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons.
What time of the year is that?
That was in August, but it's
good
cool
time
up
to go.
there. It's up north. So it was fun. I took the whole family there. Yeah, I've tried to go to a lot of the national parks, and that's Yellowstone's amazing. And then it was a fun rodeo.
Did you see that video of the guy getting yeeted last week?
Yes. Oh my goodness, that was in Yellowstone. That's right. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. That was how many feet in the air did he go? It was like
11. I don't know.
Maybe it was just
high.
10 feet, but it was like 30 feet high. I couldn't believe he survived it.
Yeah, and he was laughing.
Thank God. Yeah, unbelievable. And then a week after that was the World Cup, and an Argentinian player knocked a guy on Spain, who then flew up just like that. It reminded, that's what just happened to the guy with the buffalo. He flew up in the air like that. I'm like, twice in a week.
What are some of the most memorable places you've been to?
Oh man, I mean, I've been to all 7 continents, thank God,
Right,
which is
you did a
amazing.
cruise to Antarctica, right?
Yes, yes. And so the story behind that, I mean, we could talk about that for an hour just alone. But so the cruise to Antarctica started because I wanted to go to all 7 continents,
Hmm.
and Starwood had an auction actually a week before I won the Starwood auction for throwing out the first pitch. They auctioned off a cruise to Antarctica. And I contacted the cruise company. I'm like, so how can we figure out kosher? And they're like, we can do fake kosher. I don't know if you want to call it fake kosher. They said we can like cook veggie burgers for you. It's not going to be strictly Orthodox kosher. And I'm like, well, can I bring my own food? And they're like, no, we don't allow outside food on the cruise. We do check everybody's bags. I'm like, is there any way to arrange kosher food? And they're like, there's no suppliers. In Ushuaia, Argentina, it's very hard to get kosher food to Ushuaia. And Ushuaia has all kinds of import rules. If you fly there, you can't really bring food there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so much kosher food in Argentina. Once it's in
Yeah.
Argentina, they wouldn't ship it to
So
Ushuaia?
you can't. Ushuaia has crazy import controls where you can't bring non-certified food into Ushuaia. There's all kinds of rules that they have.
They're afraid it's gonna like mess with wildlife or something.
Exactly. It's in Patagonia, sensitive region of Patagonia. So they're very strict about food imports there. And they're like, we've looked into this before. We can't do it. We're not interested. So it would have meant that I would have had to smuggle kosher food. So I was like figuring, how can I do this? How can I get to the 7th continent? I mean, I guess I could have smuggled maybe tuna fish cans and had that for 2 weeks. It's not ideal. I'm not a tuna fish guy.
But you do eat fish at all?
I eat fish. I'll do it, but to do that, to commit to doing that for a 2-week cruise would
But
be
not for a guy who flies in first class.
It's funny that I've become that because as a kid, like we were lucky to travel anywhere, and I was always, I didn't go to visit Eretz Israel until I was 22, and to do all the things that I've done since then, like it's a crazy blessing,
Yeah.
opportunity that I thank God that I'm able to do, and I'm able to take my family to all these crazy places, where we took our kids to Brazil using frequent flyer miles. There was an airline called TAM, and
Sure.
they had basically like a living room set up in first class where it was 4 seats, and decided they were going to end this. It wasn't profitable, and they just made it wide open for miles. And I used 500,000 US Airways miles and literally booked the whole cabin out. So I'm like, even if my kids cry, and that's like the biggest concern, like, I'm not going to bring my kids into first class and they're going to disturb other people, and I don't want to have to deal with that. But we literally bought the whole cabin. So the whole cabin was just ours to use. So to be able to do that with miles is just a crazy opportunity. So it's really just opened up so many cool experiences. So the coolest places that I've been. Oh,
Well, you
my.
were telling me about the getting the kosher food.
Yes, going back to Antarctica. So I had to figure out how I was going to get to Antarctica and do it with good kosher food. So we really figured out, after talking to several cruise lines, that the only way that I was going to be able to do it was to bring a group of people where it would just be worth our while to figure out the logistics of it. I'm like, well, I have this platform. I have Dan's Deals. I'm sure we have people that also want to join the 7 continents club. So let's try it. So we found actually a Jewish owner of a cruise line, and we talked to him about kosher. He's like, oh, my father would have been all about allowing kosher observant Jews to experience something like this. Yeah, he'll work with us. He gave us criteria. We had to figure out how to get food loaded onto the boat in Canada, because the boat operates in the Arctic winter, and in the Arctic summer, and then in the Antarctic summer. So when it goes from Canada to Antarctica, I think probably in October. So after the Arctic travel season, it goes to the Antarctic travel season to always have the summers.
Okay.
So he's like, we were not going to be able to get kosher food in Ushuaia, but we can load it up in Canada. We're in a docks in, I think it was in Halifax. So we had to figure out the logistics of finding a caterer to cater all of the food we would need for this trip, get the food to Halifax, load it on the boat and into the boat's freezers, and then have it in Ushuaia a couple months later when we would go. So the logistics of pulling this all off was crazy, but I found a caterer in Montreal who was willing to do it and come along on the trip actually with us. And so he shipped meals we advertised it on Dan's Deals. We sold out 50 berths on that cruise. And I mean, ideally I would have loved to have fully chartered the cruise.
Right.
But the Rabbanim, the rabbis that I spoke to, all said that if you're going over Shabbos, you need to, and it's just for a Jewish catered cruise where the majority of passengers are Jewish, You need to dock for Shabbos. You can't be large at sea, and there are no docks in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
And after we did this and we proved the concept that there are, Jewish people that want to do it, there have been, I see advertisements now for Antarctic kosher cruises that are fully charted that go over Shabbos. And I don't know the halachic, I don't know how they're able to do it, because there are so many, we're getting into the Hebrew weeds here. All right, we'll talk about it for a minute. You can decide what to do with it. There are so many halachas or Jewish laws about Shabbos and what non-Jews can do for a Jew on Shabbos that you're going to be violating, and they're only doing it for this Jewish cruise, that there's no way to really do it. So our main constraint was keeping the boat, so it would be under 50% of the boat are Jewish passengers, so that we wouldn't be violating any Shabbos issues.
Okay, so you have to bring on 50% or more, 51% non-Jews.
Correct.
How'd you get the Canadian Prime Minister?
That was amazing. Stephen Harper, first of all, he's amazing.
Yeah, we love him.
He's a big friend of Israel and the Jewish people, and he's also just a fun, engaging person. Everybody loves being around him. So he is friends with the owner of the cruise. So that had nothing to do with me whatsoever. But it was a fun bonus that everybody was super, we told everyone just be respectful, give him space. But he was constantly engaging us and asking questions, and we'd bring him, kosher food and, smoked meats, and he loved it. He was amazing. And we gave him our appreciation for what he did for Israel and for the Jewish people and keeping Canada safe, which, it seems crazy now because every other day we read about what's going on and shuls and schools in Montreal and Toronto being firebombed. Like it's actually kind of crazy, the environment that we're in now. So we expressed our gratitude to him. So the logistics of that. So we had to keep the cruise under 51% Jewish, under 50% Jewish. So the cruises are capped by law. You're only allowed to have 100 people off the boat in Antarctica by international law at any given time, so that they don't want these mega cruises with thousands of people overwhelming the environment there. So they're all very small.
What's the concern with the environment?
Yeah, it just it's a fragile environment, and they don't want people just trampling over it and contaminating the environment.
Is it because of permafrost?
No,
'Cause, like anything that goes there, just essentially gets preserved forever.
Right, and that's more. I think that's more of a concern in the Arctic. I know I went to. I don't know if have you been up to Svalbard to Longyearbyen?
No, not yet.
It's like maybe 1,000 miles north of Norway. It's it's as close to the Arctic Circle as you can get.
And there's no addresses, right?
It's just a small little town.
You were writing about that.
By law, you need to carry a rifle if you leave the town because there's polar bears everywhere and they'll eat you.
So you can rent a rifle?
We hired a guide that had a rifle.
What if you don't
and took
want
us
a guide?
around. You can't go out of town without a rifle. So I guess you could rent a rifle there if you're going to go out without a guide. We had a guide that took us around and to see polar bears without getting too close.
It's so weird. Also, I've heard about this with the polar bears, but they seem like such nice creatures. Like they're in all the children's books, and polar bears are
they're adorable.
They're like pandas.
Yeah,
but apparently they'll eat you.
Yeah. The polar bears are one of the most vicious, deadly animals on Earth. So there in the Arctic, they have issues with permafrost, where that's the only place where the 1918 Spanish influenza still exists in an inactive form. But people that were buried there from that 1918 pandemic still have that in their bodies because their bodies are preserved. They're frozen.
That's why they don't let people
get buried
there?
Correct. Now they don't let people die there. If you're sick, they ship you back to Norway.
There's all these stories online, like the town where you're not allowed to die.
Yes.
And it just sounds like if you move there, you get to live forever. It's not how it works, unfortunately.
But they do have the seed bank there where they keep the seeds for all the plants
cool.
there. And they have, all this crazy stuff in this small little town.
And they've used that. In Assad's Syria.
Yeah, where something went extinct.
Extinct and
that's very cool. It's a very cool
Korea
place.
It's interesting. They have more diplomatic relations with anyone else, with countries that no one else talks to.
Yeah, and what's awesome about Svalbard is unlike trying to get to Antarctica, where you need to go on a several week cruise to get there. You could fly right there. I use my miles to fly there. So,
is there a direct flight from the United States?
No, from Oslo though. So I use miles on United to fly SAS from Newark to Oslo, and then Oslo to Svalbard.
Okay, and you were on a boat for weeks?
Yeah, so it's a 10-day cruise from Ushuaia back to Ushuaia to Antarctica. And then Ushuaia had a fuel shortage then. So we actually were diverted to the Falkland Islands, which was an unscheduled stop. And anyway, so we wound up in the Falkland Islands, which is a place that you don't get to go to. And to people who were kind of disappointed that it might take away from time from Antarctica, I also explained how, this is a place where we don't know if there's any Jewish people there. But this is a place where maybe nobody has daven mincha before, so we're going to daven mincha and pray, together and make a bracha, bring some mizonos, bring something to eat, make a bracha in this place, and just elevate this place. There's a story of a Lubavitcher chassid, Mendel Futterfass, who was in prison in a Siberian gulag, and a professor there was sent to this gulag and saw Rav Mendel there, who had been there for years. And he's like, you got to tell me your secret. All these guys wind up here and they live for a couple months or a couple weeks and they drop dead. And here you've been here for years. Like, how are you staying alive in this gulag? And Rav Mendel said, listen, the average Cossack that's sent here, he lives for what? His alcohol, his horse. He's living for what is he? He doesn't have those things. And their body's like, well, I'm here for the long term. I have nothing left to live for. I'm here for the food. I'm here for the drink. I don't have these things here. And they lose the desire to live. And for me, I live to serve God. And in this place, if I can't stop from forced labor to pray, the afternoon prayer, to daven mincha, to pray, because if I stopped working, I'd be shot dead. But while I'm working, I'll pray and I'll daven mincha, and I'll think that in this spot of the world, nobody's ever davened mincha before, nobody's ever prayed here before. And I'm going to elevate this place and make it a holy place and imbue godliness in this place. And that's what I'm here. And that's what kept him going. So I saw the same thing. Like, we're going to this crazy place. I don't know who's ever been there. We looked up if a Tanya has ever been printed there, because a big part of the Chabad movement is trying to print a Tanya in every place where there's a Jew living there. And one of the people on the boat, Levi Ben Yemenson, who actually won a raffle, we raffled off
I bought a ticket to that.
Okay, yeah. So we sold over $100,000 of tickets to win 2 spots, and as a fundraiser, as a charity fundraiser for my synagogue here, actually, to win a cabin on the cruise. And so he was the winner. And he's a young Chabad guy about my age, and he went around town while we were there, and we were all exploring the town and looking at the penguins. He went to find a Jewish person living there, and he found one.
He found one,
and he learned some Tanya there with them, and they managed to print a Tanya, and I have it in my other room, the Tanya that we printed in the first time it was ever printed in the Falkland Islands. There's no Chabad emissary there. There's literally one Jewish person we found in this island. So that was pretty cool.
And wasn't there some kind of like disaster with the food where it almost didn't make it on the boat or something?
No. The food on the boat was taken care of already in Halifax. Now we did have
something. I remember something happened in Ushuaia.
Yeah, in flying down to Ushuaia, we were in Ushuaia for the last night of Hanukkah before the cruise, because you had to be there at least a day beforehand, make sure there's no issues with the flight. So we all got there on Sunday, and we had to find a cruise that was departing on a Monday, because we had to allow time for people to fly to Argentina to get there on Sunday. And according to Jewish law, you can't leave within 3 days of Shabbos on a cruise, because the motion sickness will ruin your Shabbos. So you can't leave on a cruise from Tuesday night until Friday is off limits. You can't start a cruise if you're going over Shabbos, because you need to acclimate to the motion sickness according to Jewish law.
But you can get acclimated to it?
Within a few days, yeah. Oh. We also have modern medicine, things like scopolamine patches, which you put behind your ear to help with nausea. So everybody wore those as well. And the scopolamine patches, they help, but also they make you very dehydrated. And so it kind of, until you get used to it, it does take a few days.
Okay.
But you do acclimate eventually. You do go through the Drake Shake, this crazy passage between Argentina and Antarctica, the most like wild waters on Earth.
How bad is it?
You might get lucky, and it might be called the Drake Lake, and it's very calm, or it might be the Drake Shake, and you get crazy waves. So on the way there, down to Antarctica, we were very lucky. We got the Drake Lake. It was very calm. On the way back, we had the Drake Shake, and we were going up, 40-foot swells, and the boat just and it's not a giant cruise ship. It's a small boat. It's for 100-something passengers. Mm-hmm. So we were really going up and down.
Do you have to be strapped to something?
You always have to be holding on to something, yeah.
For like days on end?
No, it's about 2 days. The passage takes about 2 days each way. And there was one really bad day. It was actually the 10th day of Teves, which is a fast day. And in North America, that's the shortest of the Jewish fast days. It ends, pretty early. In Antarctica, in the summer, you just have constant sunlight. So we actually had like a 25-hour fast day. And so people asked the rabbis, not everybody was told that they had to fast. Those who didn't fast, they ate full meals, and then the Drake Shake came, and a lot of them, I know my roommate wound up refunding everything that he ate back into the toilet, and I was very happy to not have eaten anything. I was just in bed trying to hold on for dear life.
So for 2 days, you're literally like just being shaken.
It was really just maybe 24 hours where it was really bad. And
What do you do during that time? Like, can you function? Can you read? Can you?
With difficulty. It's pretty crazy. That's the price you have to pay to visit Antarctica. There is an option to fly to Antarctica.
From South Africa, right?
Either from Argentina, South Africa, there are options. It's very expensive, but it is doable. The biggest problem is that the flights are very unpredictable. You could have days of bad weather down there.
Right.
And it gets postponed, and there's no refunds. It goes when it goes. So I've had, since then, people have emailed me like, what can we do? I bought this ticket to fly down there on a Sunday, and it's been pushed off since then. And now it's Shabbos, and they say, oh, we're going on Shabbos. There's no refund. So here's $20,000 that you just paid for this flight. Take it or leave it. Travel insurance isn't covering it. The Shabbos isn't a covered reason to miss a flight. So we didn't want to have anything to do with flights. We decided we weren't going to risk that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then never mind all the other questions about when is Shabbos, when the sun doesn't set. And so luckily we never got to a point where it was a question about when Shabbos would be, because it's crazy, crazy, crazy complicated. I was prepared for that eventuality in case we got to a place where we might not have. In other words, there's everywhere where we got to, there was no sunset. There was no starlight, there was no pure darkness, but there was a sunset. And if you get to a place where there is no sunset, then it's complicated as for when you keep Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily we never got that far south. And one of the reasons why we never got that far south was because we diverted to the Falkland Islands. And so I actually told people in our group that the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, he was going to prison, and they were taking him on a boat, and he wanted to bless the new moon because the moon had come out and it was clear. And he asked them if they could stop the boat. And they said, who do you think you are? Well, you're under arrest for spreading Judaism. And he said, listen, do you want to stop the boat naturally, or do I need to intervene for this boat to stop? And they stopped the boat, and he blessed the new moon. And he actually, the captain who agreed to stop the boat, the Alter Rebbe wrote a letter to him that he's going to live a long life and be prosperous, and that happened. The guy actually kept the letter, and people have seen that afterwards.
Wow.
But so the point is that the Alter Rebbe had a novel view of when Shabbos might start, which is that you need a real sunset. There's sunset. We're getting into the weeds here. Sorry again, but there's Shkia Haneris. There's one sunset that you might see it, and then there's Shkia Amitis. There's a true sunset, and so there may have been opinions on the boat that maybe some people hold there is a Shabbos. Some people would say there isn't Shabbos.
That's not complicated, because like if you're in a place where there's mountains,
yeah, exactly,
you can see the sunset, but the sun is still there, just not in your field of vision. And
this is actually a chiddush, something novel that the Alter Rebbe came up with, and that's one of the reasons why Chabad in Palm Springs keeps a longer Shabbos, because it's right by the foot of the mountains, and so they actually keep a different Shabbos time that other people in Palm Springs might keep. And so what's complicated is that we may have had, we had Aaron Cutler from Lakewood was on our cruise, and he may have gotten one psak about when Shabbos is, and other people may have held that there is no sunset, and so we may have held Shabbos on different days or 6 hours apart. Like, it could have been really crazy. And because of the diversion to the Falkland Islands, we never came to a point where we had this question. So I kind of joked that, I think the Alter Rebbe, who had his own boat stories, may have intervened here for us to go there and not have any question, even according to him, about whether we have a Shabbos now, whether we're going to be holding maybe a 32-hour Shabbos we would have kept. We never got to a point where we had to ask a question about that. We asked the question. We never had a point where there was a question about when Shabbos was on that cruise.
What was that crisis, though, in Shaya with the...
Yeah, so we had to bring food to Ushuaia just for the day, because we were there overnight on Hanukkah, so we had to bring food there. And then, so I had put food for the whole group in our luggage going from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia. And then they paged me at the gate, and they're like, well, Daniel Eleff, please come see us. And they're like, the police need to see you. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm going to wind up in some Argentinian prison because of the food that I was trying to bring to Ushuaia. And I went down like into the belly of the airport, and there was a border control there who was like looking at like, what are these things? What's going on? You know, we have strict rules about the food. And I explained, you know, what we were doing, and we're 50 people who need to eat. And he was very sympathetic. And I didn't know if he was looking for a bribe. I didn't want to offer that. Definitely not initially, until I felt it out. And he's like, listen, I'll let you go, but you can't bring this or that or the other thing. And I'm like, that's fine. We'll be okay. So they took away a few things, which we did a research in what was allowed, and everything should have been allowed, but I don't know if they were making problems for a bribe, but at any rate, it worked out. I didn't get arrested. I made the flight. So all the food did make it to Ushuaia in the end. But that was a crazy experience. It's gorgeous there. You know, we kayaked with glaciers that were glaciers that were falling around us, and penguins and everything. It's a magical place. It was really an amazing experience. So that was my 7th continent. Yeah. So the other continents I was able to go to with miles, whereas that one, the logistics of that were a lot more complicated.
That cold plunge looked like a lot of fun.
The cold plunge was crazy. Yeah, it's called the polar plunge, and you just jump into the ice cold water, and it's the coldest water that there can be because of the salinity, because of the saltwater content.
Oh, it can get colder and doesn't freeze?
It freezes at 28 down there. So this water was like 29 degrees. It's full of ice, brash ice, and you're jumping into this water, and you've never felt cold like that in your entire life.
Are you wearing anything?
Yeah, I mean, you're wearing a bathing suit.
No, but no like wetsuit.
No wetsuit. Like while we were kayaking, to kayak, you prepare. So you're wearing many layers of insulation and a dry suit. So you say totally dry. Even if your kayak flips over, you're going to be totally dry. That's cheating, though. If you go in a dry suit, we jumped in from the kayak into the water in the dry suit. You don't really feel much. You just kind of feel like a little tingle.
Oh, so you didn't actually do it?
No, yeah. So the polar plunge, you have to go in a bathing suit. Okay. So I did it. I jumped in a bathing suit into the water.
How was?
Your body goes into shock. It's like nothing else. You completely freeze up. Your body goes into shock, and then you wake up a second later, like, oh my goodness, I need to get out of the water to stay alive, and you swim back.
There's some science that suggests that it's good for you.
Yeah, you know, cold plunges, and people go back and forth.
It puts your body into like fight mode, and it can like.
You're totally in fight or flight mode. Absolutely. It's kind of that just absolute shock to the nervous system. I'm not sure I would do it again, but it was good. People that did it were definitely, all right, YOLO. We got to definitely while we're down here, we got to try. I only think maybe a dozen of our group did it.
And then you top it off with alcohol or something?
I don't know. We didn't do that part. I may have missed the l'chaims afterwards.
I think people were writing about like having a shot of vodka immediately after
to warm you up.
Yeah.
You know, I missed that part. I don't know. I maybe have to do it again.
Now you really have to do it again.
Yeah, some guys jumped in their tzitzis and came out with a frozen. Yeah.
What else? I mean, you've gone to some really cool places.
Yeah.
Maldives. Would you go back to the Maldives?
You know, I haven't gone back since they banned Israelis from visiting there. It was definitely one of my favorite places that I went to because it's so beautiful and the water is so incredible and the animals and the wildlife in the water is so amazing. And staying in one of the overwater bungalows with the glass floors. Have you done anything like that yet?
No, I was gonna go to Bora Bora this year, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
out. Have you been to both?
I haven't been to Bora Bora. I've kind of been saving that for maybe a special anniversary trip.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll get to do that one day. So I've been saving Bora Bora. But yeah, very similar. Bora Bora, maybe the hotel. There aren't as many point hotels to choose from there, but it's closer than the Maldives are.
Yeah.
But the Maldives are fun because I got to fly Emirates there and stop off in the UAE well before the Abraham Accords. This is back in 2017. And I flew back Etihad, so I got to compare the showers that they both offer in first class.
Were you in the residence?
No, I wasn't in the residence. At the time, you couldn't even upgrade to that. Like you had to either pay the full fare, it's $30,000, something like that one way. Now it's actually easier. If you use your miles, you could upgrade to it.
Can you? But it's not available on most flights now. It's only like on.
It's on the A380s. The A380s have it, so you have to find an A380. They're flying it from Toronto to Abu Dhabi daily. So I've thought about it. Yeah.
Okay, I heard they're doing it to London also.
Yes. London to Abu Dhabi. I think Tokyo to Abu Dhabi and Toronto to Abu Dhabi have the A380s.
Why are they like closing out the A380s?
Yeah, I mean,
It's such a cool plane.
It's tough to fill that many seats. So like in an all economy configuration, they were talking about it's gonna be like 850 seats. They had hoped that the low cost carriers would do that, but there aren't that many markets where 850 people need that much lift. So it's really worked well for Emirates because their business model of connecting people through Dubai is really conducive for it. In the US, where airlines have so many hubs, they don't want that much lift. They don't want that many seats on a plane. So none of the US airlines bought it. So Emirates really wanted a next generation A380. And I was in Toulouse. An airline took me to Toulouse in 2019 at Airbus headquarters. And they were buying a plane, and it's really cool because they just roll out the red carpet for them, and they take them out to all the finest restaurants and give them a crazy experience and tour of the headquarters. And we watched them build all these planes and put together the A380, and they were devastated that they weren't going to be able to come to an agreement at the time. They're still making the A380. We saw them building A380s, but they're like, this is the end of the road because Emirates wants it, but nobody else wants it. And Emirates isn't willing to pay enough to make a new engine that will make it feasible to have a second generation A380.
So they stopped it, right?
They stopped it around COVID.
But they're still going to be like flying for many years, right?
Yeah, they'll still be flying. Another 15 years, you can still fly one. You can still fly in a 747 on some airlines, which is amazing.
Like Trump is flying one.
They'll be. I mean, the 747 that they got, the new Air Force won't be flying for decades and decades to come. But commercially, I think Korean Air and Lufthansa that still have 747s you can fly on. And if you haven't flown on one, find a way to fly on one because it's such a beautiful plane, and being upstairs is such an experience.
Does Alal not have any more?
No, they're all gone. They retired them over COVID.
So you were on the last United 747 flight,
yeah,
right?
I took the final United 747. I used miles to fly to Hawaii on that flight, and it was like a party flight. The whole flight, it was just people moving around the cabin and trying out all the seats and going upstairs and downstairs. And before that, I took my son on just a commercial flight to San Francisco when they're doing their last year of the 747. We flew upstairs on there and went to the cockpit, and these old pilots that had flown in those planes for decades were just giving everybody tours, and it was a very cool experience. Rafi got us in the captain's seat and push all the buttons on the plane.
You ever go like plane watching?
Not really. We don't get too many exciting planes in Cleveland.
But you travel a lot.
But I travel a lot. Yeah, I haven't. I still want to go to St. Martin. Have you been on the beach there?
I have not been, but I've seen. I
That's
know
on my bucket list. I do want to be on that beach and watch the planes come in. Though after KLM retired their 747, it doesn't have quite the same appeal.
Yeah, but you can get hurt. I've seen people like getting blown into the water.
Yes. You don't. I don't know if I would stand right there.
Yeah, maybe don't take your kids.
Yeah, I think the real issue is takeoff. The landing would be okay, but takeoff, getting that.
I've seen people flying away.
They fly into water and all their stuff flies. And sometimes people still leave all their stuff there to fly into the ocean. But that's a cool place to plane watch. There definitely are some great places to watch planes. I've done in Boston. There's some nice spots in the park to watch.
Amsterdam has a nice. Have you seen that? There's like a fake KLM plane near the airport, and you go. There's like a balcony.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like looking. I feel childish, but there's something about it. I just like looking at planes.
Yeah, it's pretty magical. No question. Yeah. Planes they're fun to watch. The best place where I've plane watched, gosh, I don't know. I can't say off the top of my head. I don't know.
We're gonna take one more quick break to let you guys know that if you know somebody who doesn't have internet access, maybe a child or a grandparent or somebody who simply wants to listen to these episodes on their phone without having to use the internet, we have a hotline where you can call in and listen to these episodes. The hotline phone number is 605-615-7500. That's 605-615-7500. Additionally, if you want to follow my travels around the world, you want to see what I'm reading, what I'm eating, what I'm doing, who I'm meeting with, the podcast that I'm recording, etc. If you want an inside look into my life, feel free to follow my WhatsApp status. The phone number is 929-777-5425. So send me a message on WhatsApp. That's 929-777-5425. There are over 10,000 people who already follow it, and I'm sure that many of you guys might enjoy it. So send me a message, and I will add you, and we'll be in touch forever. What about kosher food? You've done a lot of eating.
Yeah.
You don't look like it. You look great, but you're like you used to. I don't know, lately, you're not writing that many reviews on your website, and not that many trip reports.
I used to do a lot of trip reports, and they're very time consuming. And probably what I should do now is incorporate AI to write them, but that's what JJ's pushing me to do, and I don't like writing with AI.
So why don't you do a poll on the website? Say, listen, guys, either these reports never see the light of day, or AI writes them with Dan's help.
Yeah.
And
The
ask
problem is
them what they want.
I don't love reading AI generated content, and I could tell right away because it's very obvious and maybe when it gets to the point where AI can do a better job in keeping my voice and my tone, but I like my eyeballs glaze over when I see too much AI, and it is obvious. Like there are websites that will tell you if something's AI written or not because they write in a certain style that I find very hard to read. But it would definitely help to do it because they're super time consuming. Like the trip reports I used to write in long form, they would take, weeks to write and edit. And they didn't generate, first of all, the revenue that just another post on any other deal would generate. So the ROI was very poor.
Yeah.
And even the eyeballs, you wouldn't get like on a good deal, you'll get more eyeballs on it than a log form trip report. So it's hard to justify spending that kind of time on doing it. So I did, and I went to New Zealand earlier this year, which was an amazing trip, and spent a couple of weeks driving around New Zealand and doing crazy stuff there. And so, we used Instagram. I did a lot of Instagram stories and I saved those highlights, and it's just, it's a lot easier to do than writing a trip report and to reach people that way. So that's kind of the direction that I took with that. And I'm sure that AI can get to the point where it can take that content and make an amazing trip report from that content. I guess I need to research that more.
What do your notes look like?
As far as
if you're writing a report on a trip you did 6 years ago, where is that documented and what do those look like?
I mean, thank God, my memory is really good. I remember all kinds of fine details. But I'm just looking back at the pictures, even when I wrote a trip report that happened years before, I could still remember. I could look back at the pictures and remember the details. And I also have Google Timeline on my phone, and I can remember exactly where I went and when I went. So I'll cross-reference that. But I never took detailed notes. I called them trip notes. But even when I wrote a report years later and like in super minutiae and all the details, it would just be stuff I remembered.
That's a good memory then.
Like an elephant, like an elephant, something like that. Remember an elephant.
So, kosher food. What's good?
Yeah.
Have you been to Mutra?
I have been to Mutra a couple times. Michelin star winning. So it's a fun experience.
Yeah, definitely interesting.
The food is interesting, right? It's not comfort food. It's not food that I necessarily want to eat every day, but it's definitely fun to experience it. I think the appetizers there are a lot more fun and interesting than the entrees. That's true in a lot of restaurants. I think that the appetizers are more interesting because I can grill a steak, but I can't create they have these crazy appetizers there, and even just the bread they're doing really cool stuff with.
Yeah. Did you have the sourdough ice cream?
No, they didn't have that one.
Sourdough bread ice cream.
Okay, that's very cool.
It was very interesting.
I mean, just from having the appetizer, the bread in the beginning, I can only imagine because that appetizer is like incredible.
Well, apparently the menu changes like 3 times a day. So,
well,
like you talking about it, we probably didn't eat any of the same things.
They do have like a few classics on the menu that they do keep. But yeah, the menu changes so frequently. Where else? I mean, Paris is probably my favorite kosher food city. I love the croissants and like the traditional Parisian cheeses and wines. It's a lot of fun. Definitely gotten scarier since I first gone there, 20 years ago.
I find that the touristy areas are not bad though.
Yeah, it depends if you go out at night, and
it's kind of like when you get into like the more ethnic neighborhoods, like a neighborhood that belongs all to one community. That's when things are like
I've been spit on there. I've had my experience of anti-Semitism in Paris and in London. Like I'm definitely more comfortable walking around Abu Dhabi than
isn't that crazy?
It is crazy than some places in Europe.
It doesn't mean that anti-Semitism doesn't exist there. It means like the rule of law is very strong. People just don't.
Right.
They don't mess.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Right. And whereas that doesn't happen in a lot of cities today, where they're just kind of people they're not prosecuting it.
Yeah.
I've definitely experienced some anti-Semitism in traveling around the world, but not as much as you would think. Looking like clearly an Orthodox guy, I don't generally wear a hat. I did in Paris and London in the end. Really one of my first times doing that.
Didn't you once ship your hat to Tokyo?
I mean, it's a baseball cap, but
it was a baseball cap?
No. I'm saying in Paris and London.
Okay.
Just to try to like not be as obvious.
Oh, okay. Now I'm understanding.
Yeah. I did wind up. I flew the United Island Hopper. to Palau, and I was supposed to be home for Shabbos, and we misconnected on the island hopper. There was some paperwork where we got delayed, and I got stuck in Guam overnight, and then I missed my connection back home before Shabbos. I wound up in Tokyo for Shabbos instead of being back home, so I was trying to figure out how to get. It didn't work out in the end. I didn't get a. There was a guy that was going to come and meet us there with my Shabbos gear, with my kapata and my fedora. That didn't actually happen in the end. Island hopper is really cool. You find some really neat islands in the Pacific, and like I went to Palau, where they have this jellyfish lake, and you could snorkel with millions of jellyfish that don't have any stingers.
Oh, right, because there's no natural predators.
Yeah, no natural predators in the lake, and so you're swimming with all these jellyfish and crazy place. And I brought kosher food there, and I'm always nervous about what are they going to say about the kosher food. Like I've never really have it taken away. In Mexico, maybe they took away some food from us, but most places are okay with it. And they're like, what is this? We don't really allow food. I'll explain, like, I need to have it. I only eat kosher. Explain what kosher is. And like, okay, yeah, no problem. Tell your friends to come visit.
Wow.
So most places are really respectful about it. So yeah, Palau is beautiful. South Africa is amazing. Have you done safari yet?
No.
So going on safari is something just really, really special, seeing all the animals, and especially if you go to a place that has there's so many kosher safaris in the Kruger National Park. So we went to one last year, which was amazing. Just such an incredible experience, seeing all the animals in their natural habitat and having gourmet kosher food while you're doing it. That's awesome.
Is it expensive?
It's
a cheap country in general.
Yeah. The safaris are catered more for Americans, so it's expensive. Definitely the locals don't do it. But for an American, it's doable. There are ways of making it cheaper. You can go on a self-driving safari. You could bring your own food, and the food in Johannesburg and Cape Town is like the cheapest kosher food on earth.
Yeah, well, except for Thailand.
So Thailand is subsidized by donors a lot. So yeah, Chabad has really cheap food in Thailand, but they're losing money, I think, on every meal that they sell there because they want these really backpackers
to eat
kosher. So I think it's subsidized. So when I went to Thailand, I definitely left a donation to cover the cost of the meal. But yeah, it is very cheap in Thailand. In South Africa, it's just cheap.
Yeah.
They're not losing money on it. So the restaurants are catering for a local market where, they're using rand, and I think it's like 18 rand to $1, and they're making in rand what we make in dollars, and everything is just like a joke. So you get a cocktail in a restaurant in New York City costs about $20, and there it costs $1. Or a burger is, it's everything is a steak is $5 or something in Cape Town. And Cape Town is a gorgeous city, probably the nicest city, prettiest city that I've been to.
Really?
Yeah, the peninsula around Cape Town, just stunning views, really amazing. And United canceled our flight back home from Cape Town last year.
You're with the whole family?
With the whole family, and we're like, but it actually wound up to be okay. They actually covered the cost of the weekend, and actually had extra Fairmont nights, and we stayed at the Fairmont, a new Fairmont in Cape Town. And I told them what happened, and they upgraded us to like this 3-bedroom suite overlooking the harbor there in Cape Town. It was actually beautiful, and we walked to an old shul there, a couple 100-year-old shul in Cape Town.
Really?
So that was really cool. It's just a beautiful city. So they got us home 3 days later, but these things happen when you travel, right?
Yeah,
and
you have to roll the punches.
You have to roll the punches. You have to be prepared. Whenever I have anything critical, I'll have a backup flight. And with miles, it's really nice because generally speaking now, mileage flights are refundable. So I'll book a backup flight for the next day and make sure that I'm not going to get stranded for days on end. But yeah, I definitely believe in the hashgacha pratis, the divine providence of whatever happens. There's a reason why it's happened. You're supposed to meet somebody, and I try to look for those connections even more. You always should, right? When you travel, you should always be looking for those connections. But when you have a flight cancellation, which it'll happen, right? When you travel around the world, what's the reason? Like, who am I supposed to meet? What am I supposed? What's the real object here? And I know that there was a women's convention. Chabad Women's Convention in Detroit many years ago, and they got all their flights got canceled. And I think they wrote to the Lubavitcher Rebbe like, "We're stuck. What should we do?" And the Rebbe's like, "What does it mean stuck? You can't be stuck somewhere. You have a mission to do. Go meet more Jewish people. Spread Yiddishkeit. Spread kindness. Spread goodness. Teach people about lighting Shabbos candles. Teach people while keeping the 7 Noahide laws. You have a mission here. You're not stuck." Like I was in Eretz Yisrael for a bar mitzvah in February. I was in Israel in February for a bar mitzvah of a cousin, and we decided to go over Purim, so we would stay. And Bar Mitzvah happened on Friday, and we knew there was a chance that war was going to happen. It had been talked about for already months beforehand. And then on Shabbos morning, that's when the war started. They killed Ayatollah Khomeini, and within minutes there were sirens going off in Israel. So I was at the Waldorf using my points at the Waldorf Astoria Yerushalayim.
How long did you have to stay there?
So I was constantly working on contingencies and how to figure out how to leave the country. We were planning on staying until Shushan Purim, and we wound up finding a flight home the next week, the next Monday afterwards. Shushan Purim was Wednesday, and we flew home on the following Monday.
So you stayed like an extra week?
Not even, extra 4 or 5 nights.
And that was at the Waldorf the entire time?
Yeah. They actually were very nice. They extended everybody a nice discount to extend their stay, and we figured it out with
good breakfast.
Yeah, great breakfast. Yeah.
Did you meet the Messiah?
Me? Was that
The Messiah?
Messiah?
Is there somebody living at the
Yes.
Okay.
He's called the Messiah. I met them and their kids. Sure. Is that?
No, there's someone who says that he's the Messiah.
He's the Messiah. I guess I didn't speak to him enough. I know. I definitely met him. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
He's been living there for a few years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what's bothering me about the kosher food scene right now?
Yeah. So I was saying, so in Yerushalayim, we didn't feel like we're stuck. I was there. Yaakov Shweki was there, and we sat together, and we had kumzitz there. Like, we're not stuck here. There's a reason we're here. I'm here to help people out who were, every time there was a siren that went off and we go down to the basement, I was schmoozing with people. I'm like, here are the options. Like, what? Like, how do I go home? Like, here are the options. Here's what you could do. And I would tell them right now, if you need to go right now, you can go out through Egypt. You go through Sharm el Sheikh, or you can go out through Taba. And I was telling them the options. And the next day, somebody like, oh, what happened with them? I'm like, oh, they texted me. Actually, they got out through Taba. I'm like, you could do that. I was like, I'm going to wait till I could fly out of Ben Gurion. And we flew out on a turboprop on Air Haifa from Ben Gurion to Athens. And then United rebooked our flight home instead of Tel Aviv to Newark. They flew from Athens to Newark.
Is Air Haifa still operating?
Yeah.
Because I was looking for flights. I couldn't find anything. Maybe you have to go to their website?
Yeah, you have to look directly on their website.
So you can't find it anywhere
And they're
else.
operated from Haifa again now. So they fly from Haifa to Athens and some other, to Cyprus.
It's so complicated to get to Israel.
Yeah.
And it's so, I feel like with a different president, it'd be like, there's going to be a war. There's not going to be a war.
Yes.
With Trump, every day it changes 5 times.
Yes.
And my plan was to go to Israel for the summer.
There's definitely.
I still haven't got there, and I don't know if it's going to work. It's just so stressful.
It's very stressful.
Imagine living there and not.
Yeah. And the U.S. airlines, they don't know what to do either, because they don't want to commit to serving a route, and they don't want to commit to planes, so they're kind of just keep canceling, and it's very difficult to find flights.
So much money on the table.
Yes and no. It's very expensive to cancel a route like that. So we flew on United to Israel, and then now what do? Like, they have all these bookings they have to refund now, and they figure out we have a plane that's extra now, because you can't just use that, all these 787s. You can't just immediately launch new routes.
Mm-hmm.
They're already there, so they have all these extra planes now they're sitting on. So it's very, very expensive for them to cancel. So they don't want to do it until they know that's going to happen. So yes, they're leaving a lot of money on the table, but it's also would cost them even more to cancel last minute.
Interesting. And do you find, is there like a legal structure that stops them from flying to a war zone if they're a U.S. airline?
Yeah, there's not legally, there's no issue legally, but just insurance gets very expensive. They might not have any insurance coverage for their planes. I think the main thing is just that it's very expensive to cancel last minute and to have those planes that are just sitting around extra.
I wonder when that's going to end. It's really, really difficult to get there.
Everything just feels like it's in limbo now, right?
Yeah.
Because is there going to be a war? Yes, there's going to be a war. No, there's not going to be a war. They expected a few days ago that it was going to restart, and then it was canceled.
Trump is saying, he's going to give them time for negotiations. And then the high holidays are coming up. There are so many people who want to go.
It's so crazy because I don't want to get into politics, but we see they're not good negotiating partners. So I don't know, either do it or just say, all right, well, we can't get anywhere with negotiations. We're just going to have to either figure out how to deal with it. But to
either
be
live with them or don't.
Right. You don't have a negotiating partner, then what do we keep going back to negotiations for? You can't. You don't have a partner there to negotiate with, and that's the problem that Israel's had for so many years. You need a negotiating partner to have negotiations. And Bill Clinton has had that. Even when there were prime ministers who wanted to negotiate, there was no partner willing to negotiate. So how do you negotiate when there's no party to negotiate with?
So fortunately, with a lot of the neighbors, things have worked out. in Lebanon, things look kind of
'Cause
promising.
you have a partner that's willing to negotiate
Yeah,
in good
you
faith.
have Egypt and Jordan. They're not our best friends, but they're
If you have a good faith partner, you can come to compromise. If you don't have a good faith partner, we're
even
stuck in limbo.
Syria.
We're stuck in
Syria
limbo.
hasn't fired a shot
Yeah.
since the new guy took over. People
Right.
don't like the new guy, but he hasn't made issues.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I think my favorite part about traveling the world has been finding. We're drinking these seltzers I actually brought back from Canada, but I always love
United
finding.
has them all.
Instead of a souvenir, I'll look for like kosher food that I can't get back home, and I'll bring home, and like that'll like remember that trip. So like I brought home these seltzers. United does carry this, and the only way to get AHA seltzer in this country now is on a United flight.
They don't sell it to
buy
the general public.
No,
Are you
can't.
serious?
Yeah, they discontinued it a couple of years ago. But
I have
United
the
was so popular on
blueberry,
United that United made a deal with Coke that they're still going to carry it. They have the blueberry pomegranate, and they have the.
Yeah, so I'm a blueberry pomegranate guy. My
Yeah.
wife does the passion fruit pineapple.
So, yeah, we have like the raspberry acai. You can only get that.
This
in,
is something that's.
in Canada. Under the
for-
MK.
I feel bad. I wouldn't have drank it had I noticed from Canada.
Look at my closet. I have cases and cases of this stuff. So I drove there to Toronto to the game, and I loaded up the car, and I bring home cereals and potato chips and seltzer, and like you remember the trip afterwards, right? So I'll go to South Africa, and they have so many unique things that you can't get back home. So many different chocolates and local nougat bars and sauces and all kinds of crazy stuff that you can't get kosher back here. Nobody's importing it for some reason. I think it's a great business idea. Somebody should be importing these things from all these different places that have really cool kosher food.
People might stop traveling then.
Yeah, it's fun. So even in New Zealand, I was able to find things that you can't get. It's a tiny Jewish community, but they have things that are kosher that you can't get back home. And I'll bring home like a suitcase of that and give it out to friends and kind of just have memories of the trip. So it's a fun souvenir as a kosher observant traveler is to find crazy things like that.
Speaking of kosher, I feel like we have a problem with the kosher restaurants that everyone's serving the same food. You go to a dairy restaurant, they have the eggplant parmesan and the same 5 pastas and sushi. Then you go in the meat department, every restaurant is the same. There's a mushroom risotto, there's the tuna tartare or the steak tartare or both. There's the beef sliders, some kind of poppers, and now the hot stone.
Yeah. So Mutra is fun like that because Mutra has dishes that you're never going to see anywhere else, and that's why they won the Michelin star. And maybe it'll inspire a movement among kosher restaurants to do more unique stuff. But
we need more. Like, where's the Indian food? Where's there's so much food.
Did you ever eat at Darjeeling in Paris?
No.
Back in the day?
They closed, right?
Closed. Yeah,
now there's
amazing.
like only for takeout or something?
I did see that. They have a Darjeeling takeout. I haven't tried that.
I've seen it looks so good.
It was incredible for sure.
But we need some more unique things going on. I feel like it's getting too much of the same. It's very repetitive.
Yeah. I tried bringing a Nando's here. Nando's has like a fast food chicken restaurant in Johannesburg, which is great. Amazing. And I tried bringing that to Cleveland actually, and didn't work out. And we wound up actually bringing Mendel Siegel, who was from Kansas City. I knew from Kansas City, and then his manager is Shua Lurie, who we actually found to cater our cruise in Antarctica from Montreal. So it's funny the connections that you make. Like I found this caterer in Montreal and then talked to him on the cruise. And then he wound up moving to Cleveland because of the cruise. And then my partner with the cruise was working at B&H. I talked to him on the cruise, and now he does full-time travel experiences with people. Mishi Hershko. So
what was he doing now? He's doing a trip
he does crazy trips constantly, and he's Kosher Horizons is his business. And so I convinced him on this trip, like, make this your full-time thing. Like this could be a cool thing to do. And it's funny, like you make these connections on these trips and you just influence people's lives like that. And they wound up, making big decisions. So
I think it's safe to say you're like the mother of organized kosher travel. Like when people never had a community or a place to go to talk about it, to learn about it. And then that's something you created. And I must tell you, you inspired me to do what I do.
I think that's the best part. It's amazing.
I used to read you like, I remember where I was in yeshiva, and a guy comes in and says, there's this blog called Daniel's Deals or something. And he definitely botched the name. His name is Arya Lus. Shout out.
Okay.
He told me about it. I started reading, and it's just like, I want to do these things.
Yeah.
And thank God I've accomplished a lot of them. I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be.
Yeah.
I also found that family is really important and making a living, etc. But it's nice to have these things are nice on the side.
Yeah.
It's not the point of life, but it definitely enhances life.
Yeah, for sure. And the people that are really passionate about it, they make it their liveward. So
yeah,
so many people have you've done it. Yeah, and many people have done it. They either became so many travel agents come over to me. I went to a conference last year. They all came over to me and they got into this because of Dan Steele's stuff that I wrote about, which is really cool.
Was that JetCon?
Yeah.
That's where I saw you last.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So It's awesome just to hear from people like that, and they come over to me and tell me that their life trajectory had changed because they saw how passionate I was about it. They became passionate about it. They realized what's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of my main things was when I was writing all the trip reports was to explain this is doable. We don't have to all go to vacation in Miami. We can also go to crazy places, whether that's Palau, or if it's Svalbard, or if it's the Maldives or Bora Bora. You can
or
bring
Lebanon.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you've been to crazy places.
I wrote about it I was in the forums.
Yeah.
I was asking people has anyone been to Lebanon? Everyone's like, you're gonna get beheaded. I could have, by the way. It was probably a stupid thing to do. But
and we've had guys go to Iran and go to Syria and write crazy trip reports. And I think that's the coolest part about the forums are people that first of all research beforehand what you could bring to kind of places, how you get to places, strategize about how to get there. Where is it safe to go, not safe? And then afterwards they come back and write a trip report. It's even better because they really can help people down the line. I think that was kind of one of my goals, is to explain I have this polar bear bag and you could bring food there. It'll stay frozen for days, and you could bring a Hot Logic and enjoy. You don't have to subside off of tuna fish, and you could enjoy really gourmet kosher meals wherever you go, and you could, for people that are hung up on eating good food, it's all doable. You can go to your local restaurant, have them pack up meals, and you could warm it up yourself wherever you go. So even if you're in Kyoto, wherever you're going to be, you could really enjoy. There's Chabad there actually now that has kosher meals, that has a Michelin star sushi place that you could have kosher there.
What's the omakase?
Yeah,
the whole experience.
Yeah, I did it in Tokyo. And then after I did it in Tokyo, now there's a Michelin star place in Kyoto that does it too. So wherever you want to go, you'll find kosher food now. But actually, I think in Tokyo they're doing now, you can even have Kobe beef now, which they didn't have. I've been to Japan a few times. I love Japan. Amazing place. I love Jews. They're always excited to see us travel there. It's fun to go to a place where there's no anti-Semitism just because they love Jewish people, which is awesome. But yeah, there's no place in the world you can't go to and bring your own food and have a good vacation wherever you are.
Who's doing those Alaska fishing trips?
Yeah, I have a cousin of mine, Yankee Scheinfeld. Yeah. I'm actually going next week.
You are?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Good for you. Are you taking one of your kids?
I'm not taking my kids. They're all in camp. They're all taken care of this summer, so I don't want to disturb that.
I want to do one with my son.
Yeah, my brother Jade is coming with me, and he's bringing his son.
Nice.
With him, and so we're gonna all go together.
How long is the trip?
We're going Sunday to Thursday. Yeah, looking forward.
How
to
much
it.
fish? Well, you said
I've
you're
never
not so into
fished.
fish.
Never fished in my life. No, I mean I'll eat fish.
But you're gonna bring back a suitcase of fish.
I will bring back a suitcase of fish.
You have a freezer ready?
No, I mean we eat fish. I just I don't want to commit to eating. I don't want my vacation to be just eating tuna fish. That's kind of my own shtick.
Well, have fun. That sounds like a really awesome experience.
Yeah, it should be awesome. My cousin does amazing looking trips. Maishi Hershko also does amazing looking. A lot of guys do amazing trips like that. But yeah, Yankee Scheinfeld and Maishi Hershko both do an awesome job with that.
Are these only in the summer, or do they do them all year round?
They do all year round. He does ice fishing too. Yankee does all year round. He's gone to Alaska, and he's been harassing us to come with him for years.
I got to talk to him.
Yeah.
I really want to do it. Lately, I got into eating fish, and I want to be more out in nature. I want to travel with my son. Yeah. Okay.
Especially if you love salmon. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And I'll eat salmon definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck. Have a lot of fun, and
thank you.
Catch a big one.
What's your next trip planned?
This is gonna sound so boring.
Yeah.
Since October 7th, I was living in Israel until 4 years and 2 days ago.
Okay.
We moved away 4 years ago. We moved to Texas, and
did you move straight from Israel to Houston, or
yeah?
What was, okay.
I mean, I basically moved from. We left Israel on July 25th, 2022.
Okay.
We were in Athens for 2 or 3 days. We caught COVID there, so we were all
I
sick.
caught COVID before anybody. I caught COVID in February 2020.
Oh, so you were like the OG. You gave it to all of
I'm
us.
pretty sure I gave it to everybody now. But I was at the Kosher Wine and Food Festival in February 2020 and talking to Italian winemakers. And, the next week I was sick with 104 fever. And I'm like, I didn't know what it was. And then I tested myself for COVID antibodies and I had COVID.
There you go. Well, the first strain was nasty.
Yes.
The later ones got better, I think.
Yeah. No, I caught the first strain. But the good thing was that I was pretty sure I was immune to it at that point. I didn't catch COVID again. So I traveled the world in that time and literally had empty planes and was able to fly places.
Yeah.
It was amazing. First of all, the flights were a joke. It was like $19 fly across the
Summer
country.
of 2021.
Giving away.
The whole 2021.
2020, I was going places. It was empty. 2021 also was still empty. I flew to South Africa and Zimbabwe, went to Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, Zambia.
You paid $20 for those flights?
No. After those flights, I was able to use miles. It was wide open for miles, and stayed in resorts there where there was nobody there. We had Victoria Falls to ourselves. There was nobody there. Like the people were shocked that like we needed COVID. We needed so many COVID tests to go from country to country, but there was nobody there. We were able to just experience these crazy waterfalls, and with just like everyone was excited to see us. I did. Have you ever seen the video of Devil's Pool at Victoria Falls? You basically
Is that where you're like right above the falls?
Yeah.
That looks scary.
Insane. So I've become a bit of a daredevil. So I did that. With another guy that I met on the forums, AJK. We did that.
Oh, he's a legend on the forums.
Yeah. And so you're standing like literally right over this 400-foot waterfall, and there's like a ledge that keeps you safe.
Can you actually fall?
Sure.
Oh, you could. Okay.
You're not tied down by anything. This isn't the U.S. Like this would never be legal here, but in Zimbabwe, it's legal. In New Zealand, I did skydiving for the first time. I did bungee for the first time.
Bungee. Wow.
Yeah, but I think the coolest thing was actually glacier hiking there. We took a helicopter up to this glacier, and we went through we had to squeeze through these caves, ice caves and rivers that you're going through there. And just, we had a great time there in New Zealand. And I flew Qantas first class using miles there, and flew Air New Zealand back in business class. And they leased this plane from Cathay Pacific. So I actually got upgraded to Cathay first class from Auckland to Houston.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cathay flies to Houston?
They don't, but Air New Zealand leases a Cathay plane, and they fly on that route between Houston and Auckland. And they use a Cathay
Auckland
plane.
Okay.
So you could use your United miles to fly in Cathay first class.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Since October 7th, like when I left Israel, I was on I was a little bit bitter.
Yeah.
Because I had tried living there,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I had like a bit of a grudge against like the whole society and everything.
Okay.
And then after October 7th, I put it all aside. I was like, this is such an incredible country. I want to be there as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm still traveling all over the world, but my goal right now is to be in Israel as much as I can.
Yeah.
And that's why it's stressful, because this summer,
So
I thought I was going to go there, and I'm willing to go. I don't mind the sirens. I can do the whole thing. My wife and kids, I don't want them to think about Israel in that way. And we're like privileged. We get to talk about this as like we choose it or not. There are people who live there. They're very lucky to live there, but they have to live with this every day.
So, I mean, we definitely have some PTSD from being there during that time.
Were you there October 7th also?
No, not for October 7th. But, either your phone, sirens are going off at all times of the night, while you're in the shower, while you're in the bathroom, no matter where. There was, constant sirens going off. And one time there wasn't a siren on our phone. Usually your phone sounds and they give you a pre-warning and then a final warning. And one time we heard the sirens outside. I'm like, wow, I wonder why I hear it outside. You open the window and you actually see, rockets coming down. We're like, this is crazy. And like, I'm in Shul and Shabbos, and we're like, okay, where is the nearest miklat? And I'm like, there's nothing really around here. And like, okay, we're just going to go in the back and hope for the best. But it's pretty crazy. I'll still wake up in the middle of the night just kind of hearing sirens like that.
Really?
So it is a traumatic experience.
Oh, that's not good.
Less as time goes on. We had a tornado warning, I think, a few weeks afterwards, and our phones make the same, like the pre-siren warning on our phones. Our kids all like jumped up and like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Is Iran bombing Cleveland, Ohio, and what do they want from us?
People there kind of get immune to it.
Yeah, everybody there is immune to it. And not only that, and I asked them, like, how is it possible that you're this calm? I have a brother-in-law that lives there. He actually lives in the West Bank. And I asked him, like, how are you so calm? Like, I was with him in Shul and Shabbos, and we're like, this is luxurious for us. Until now, when we're getting bombed from Gaza, we didn't have a lot of time.
Really, like
our
30
phones,
seconds.
Yeah, our phones sirened, and we had to be in a miklat in a few seconds. Now we're getting 10-minute notices. This is luxurious for us to know 10 minutes ahead of time that something went off from Iran and be ready. And if it's something that's going to be a problem, we'll let you know with a 2-minute warning. Like they were thrilled with that. And we're like, are you crazy? Like our lives are all dependent on running into a miklat right now. Otherwise we're going to get blown up.
Yeah, but the trade-off is that those missiles coming from Iran are not the
much
same
bigger, much more
the
deadly.
missiles from Gaza.
Yeah, and so we were at a bar mitzvah. Actually, someone from Cleveland, we weren't planning on being for bar mitzvah, but we were there for an extra Shabbos, and they had bar mitzvah then the following Shabbos. And in Shul, you hear that pre-warning go off, and they were like, do we interrupt laning to go into the miklat? Do we wait? And the rabbi's like, wait, it might not happen. And then it goes off, and by that time, to get everybody packed into a shul down to the next block into a miklat, and we're seeing the interceptions happening right above us. And like it's so yeah, it's the kids overall had a good experience, and it gave them more appreciation, I think, for what people in Israel go through and what they're living through. And overall, it was a good learning experience. But you don't want to put them in a situation intentionally.
Yeah, because it could negatively affect their perception of the country for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and they kind of think that this is the normal there, that there's always this is happening there. So Mitzvah Hashem, we'll go back there again and not under this kind of threat.
Yeah, hopefully things get better. I remember when I was in yeshiva, I was like probably 2011 or 2012. There was a war going on in the summer, and for the first time they hit Yerushalayim, they hit Jerusalem one time.
Yeah.
So it started changing everything. The sirens started going off in Jerusalem, which had never happened before. And I was in a yeshiva near Jerusalem, and there was like one siren, another siren. We have to keep running down to the basement during the middle of the night and during the day. And then one day there was like silence for a few hours. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go take a nap. And I get into bed. Second my head hits the pillow, siren goes off.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm staying in bed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is I would like wait up. I'm like waiting for the night siren to go off. I'm like, I don't want to go to bed. I'm going to wait. And no matter what it was, no matter what time of night I went to bed, 10 minutes later is when the siren would go off. So
yeah, but it's important to get in the shelters. These missiles are not.
Yeah, it's not a joke, and we were very careful about going into the shelters every time. Yeah, so it was a pretty crazy experience, though.
Well, hopefully things get better soon.
It's a show. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Had a good time. Talking to you.
For sure.
And please don't forget the rodeo.
Yeah, I have to ask you, what inspired the podcast? What you said it's a new podcast, right?
A new podcast.
What was the inspiration?
What is the inspiration? I want to bring a very diverse group of guests to the internet, and there are going to be many Jewish guests. There are going to be non-Jewish guests. There are going to be Jewish guests who are not religious. The audience that I serve is not, a large part is Orthodox Jews, a large part is secular Jews, and I have a lot of Arabs following, and people from India and all over the world. So I want to try to bridge gaps.
Yeah.
I want people to understand our world. I want us to understand the outside world. I think if we try to understand each other, hopefully we can just see better results in life in general.
I think there's no better way to do that than through travel. That's why I've taken my kids so many places, and I explain to them, listen, we're going to be an example. We're going to act politely. And I distill it into them. Like, we want to make a good impression on people, make a Kiddush Hashem, as we say.
Yeah.
But also they get to see other cultures, and they get to experience things that they don't experience kind of in the bubble. So, and other people experience us and learn about us, and we try to show them who we are and to make a good impression on people, but also for the kids to learn and see other people also. So through travel, you could experience so many things that you won't otherwise. And by traveling to new countries and new experiences and going out of your comfort zone, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. You become like an ambassador for the Jewish people.
Yeah.
And you've done that through your blog as well. I know you have, I don't know what the demographics are, but there's a massive, massive audience of yours that is not Jewish. They've learned about Jewish people. They respect you because you're Jewish. You teach a lot about the different intricacies of Jewish life, like I've seen in your blog posts. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I was not planning to ask this question, but once we got back then, I wanted to ask you, have you had any travel experiences that have changed or impacted how you view the world?
Wow. Yeah, definitely. I think I don't know if I could say anything in particular off the top of my head. I have to think about that more. People are generally good. So, I mean, I think that's what you realize when you travel places and when you're in stressful situations, and people are good. Mm-hmm. You have to go off social media sometimes.
Yeah, social media is
turn
bad
off
for
the
you.
news because it's the negativity that goes on there is, I don't know what it is. Why is it in this loop of just such negativity and so much hate?
Because
you
it
go on
keeps people
Twitter,
glued.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It gets the eyeballs. Hate gets eyeballs. Is that what it is?
It's not about, it's intrigue. People are like, oh my God, there's a crisis.
Okay.
So and then they have to get on social media to see the crisis. Now we
manufacture
have to
drama.
Find out. No, these things there's like real things happening,
Yeah.
but it's not as bad and as scary as it looks like on social media. And
But we don't see the good. We just see those real things that are happening. So there might be some negative things happening in the world, but you don't see all the good that's happening.
Yeah, like nice, polite young man walks old lady across the street doesn't make the evening news. But if you get off social media, you just look outside, there's a lot of nice things going on.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I need to ask you about.
Yeah.
Tell me the story of when you controlled the entire Tesla. You were like this the god of Tesla for a few hours, a few days. What happened there?
A hot minute there. Tesla had these forums where people can talk about their experience with their Teslas back in the early days. So I got my Tesla, my first one in 2018. I got a Model 3.
Oh, you're an early
adopter.
adopter.
Early adopter, yeah, for sure. And now I got a Model Y, which is amazing because the upgrade in technology from like the original cars that were kind of pretty rudimentary to where they are now is amazing.
Did your old car have full self-drive?
It did, but had like the older version of it, and now it has the HW4, the newer version of it, and it's so amazing because now I could travel anywhere, and it's so easy, it's so effortless, right? Like I drove to Toronto and back for a baseball game. It's like nothing. It just drives you. You don't need. It doesn't matter if you're tired. I went back and forth as a day trip. It opens up the world.
Yesterday, I was living in Toronto.
Yeah.
And we went to a restaurant, and the car was like trying to park in an illegal spot. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then I parked it somewhere else. After dinner, we came in the car to drive to Cleveland, and FSD wasn't working. Like the button was there, but when you touched it, it didn't react.
Okay.
And so it's like getting later and later, and I'm on the forums and I'm calling friends. Like, have you ever had this? We reset the car a few times. Nothing changed. So like me, like a peasant, I had to drive. I had to drive like a normal person.
Oh, wow.
I'm only driving Tesla for a couple of weeks, but it changed. I was like, I have to drive now for 4 hours? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and I was really tired. Usually you can just space out. So I had to drive here, and then
weird.
When I woke up this morning, it was working again.
That's crazy.
So thank God it's back.
I've never experienced that. You have the Cybertruck. I haven't driven that yet, but that's.
Would you like to take it for a spin? After?
Maybe.
Okay.
I haven't test driven that yet. It looks really cool. I'm still waiting for the Tesla minivan.
Yeah, well, we'll see, or the SUV. We'll see.
Something would be good. I guess they came out with a YL, so it has 6 seats.
But you could always buy the semi and just put seats in the in the trailer.
Yeah, no, it's So they gave me. I asked to register for the forums, and I had some bug, and I had to call them, and they said, "Okay, you're registered now." And they turned out they made me the site owner of it. So I saw everybody's email address, everyone's phone number, millions of people, even Elon Musk's. Who was registered for it, and like you could view their addresses, like everything.
Were you writing down oh, this is
I downloaded
William Shatner.
What do I do with this information? That was like crazy.
You downloaded it?
Yeah.
You still have it?
I probably do.
Oh boy.
I haven't used it. And so I told them about it, and I was
you told who about it?
I told Tesla, hey,
okay.
you
how'd you reach out to them?
I emailed them. I don't remember exactly anymore. And they're like, oh, well, you submit a bug. Like, go to the bug bounty website. I'm like, okay. So I went to the bug bounty website, and they said, oh, well, you need to take down your post about it. I'm like, all right, I'll take, I maybe posted some screenshots proving it. They're take down the screenshots. They actually paid me money for reporting the bug.
Anything significant?
No, it was $1,000.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice bonus. It's subsidized.
I'll start reporting bugs for $1,000.
They have a bug bounty program if they have any bugs. So this is the bug.
Oh, maybe what happened yesterday is
I don't know. You can let them know. But Tesla bug bounty. I'm a big Tesla fan though. That was a lot of fun.
Did Elon ever publicly acknowledge it?
No.
Because he responds to the stupidest things on Twitter.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, this is before he owned Twitter. I think he was on there a little bit less back then.
Right. But that's cool. You can call him.
Yeah. Probably change his number, but I don't know. I have to go look. I didn't try.
I hear. All right. Well, you've done a lot of fascinating things in life.
Yeah, I listened to this. I say your video series that you did with Peter was
Peter
amazing.
Santinello. Thank you.
Really incredible work, and I think it opened up also the same thing. It opened a lot of people's eyes, and like the comment section on most YouTube videos and most social media are so negative, and that was so positive. I'm like, what is going on here? Like so much positivity was there. Listen, there could be negativity, but it was kind of wholesome to see okay, this is what they're about. Maybe there's different cultures and I need to learn more about it. So that was an awesome series. It was really cool.
But going back to what you're doing, I have to tell you that I think one thing that's really valuable is that as a kid, I think everyone has dreams, things they want to accomplish, and these fantasies about how they're going to live their lives. And then we become adults, and it's a lot of those things are not realistic. They're not practical. They seem impossible. You kind of a lot of your childhood dreams, I feel like you're living them.
Yeah.
And it inspires people because you shouldn't let go of a dream. Something you think about all the time, you should try. There's something very powerful and validating about accomplishing or reaching the goal of one of your childhood dreams. And it's really nice to get to do that. And it shows other people they can dream too.
Even something like as meaningless as going to every ballpark, it's just something that's kind of like, it was there. I've had it it took me 41 years to get through it. I've been going to games for my whole life with my grandfather, and I take my kids. I took 2 of my kids yesterday to the game. It's always good to have a little side quest that you're trying to reach for. You know, I have this bucket list. I have bucket list places I want to go, bucket places that I've gone to, but it definitely adds some spice to life, and it keeps you going, keeps you motivated.
But I don't think it's meaningless. I think there's a lot of meaning there, because if you use, quote, meaningless dreams as a metaphor for other things in life, it just shows you can get stuff done. Like if something you want to do, you can do it.
Yeah.
First you do the meaningless things, and then it shows you that like the big stuff can happen too. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's all doable. Don't basically don't give up on your dreams.
Do not give up on your dreams.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your
pleasure.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching this episode. And of course, we have to thank Dan for coming on the podcast. I was actually in Toronto last weekend, and I was planning to go to Montreal on Sunday. And unfortunately, our plans did not work out, so we'll have to visit Montreal a different time. But since I was already in Canada and close to Cleveland, I'd had this idea of having Dan on the podcast for a while. I never spoke to him about it. It's just something that I wanted to do. And I shot off a text to Dan. I was like, hey, Dan, I might be in Cleveland tomorrow. Would you be willing to meet with me? And he said yes. Like, I was really impressed by his spontaneity. I've always admired that about Dan. So Dan, if you are listening, I'm assuming you might watch this, or maybe not. I don't know. You're a busy guy. But I've always admired the fact that you're spontaneous. I think that's one of the things that has made you so successful. And you've been able to travel all over the world and do incredible things because you grabbed the moment. So thank you very much for doing this with almost no notice. I appreciate it. Of course, we want to thank all the sponsors who took part in this episode. So number 1, Shaya Weinberger from Luxury Kosher Villas. Number 2, Mendy Weiss from JOYRIDE Auto Leasing. Number 3, Barry Pearlstein from Hire on Us. Number 4, Weber Tours. Number 5, Luxury for Charity. Get yourself a ticket, luxuryforcharity.org/Zions. And number 6, Yitzi Goldstein, my cousin from Southside Smokehouse in Lakewood. Of course, if you want to sponsor an episode or take part, advertise, etc., please send us a message, a text, a WhatsApp, call us. The phone number is 718-395-3465. Also, I need to thank each and every one of you for watching and listening to this episode. We started off last week. It's a new show. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but thank God we already have thousands of listeners, and I'm really impressed and surprised, honestly, pleasantly surprised by the feedback we got. So we're going to try to continue this as often as possible. I'd like it to become a weekly show. I'm not promising that at this time, but I hope we will get there. So thank you all for being here. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. You can hype this episode on YouTube. You can like the episode. You can comment on the episode. You can send it to a friend. Sending it to somebody you know or love who you think would appreciate this episode means a lot to us as well. Helps us expand our listener base and reach new people. So thank you all for being here. And last but not least, I want to thank God for the opportunity to do this. Thank God we did it last week. We're doing it this week. And we hope we'll have one next week. Thanks again for being here. Have a great day and a great weekend, and hope to see you soon. God bless you all.